It's ACHR Aviation time. I can't say we didn't tell you. I can't say we didn't tell you. Never write ACHR Aviation off. The news we got today is absolutely outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have a special guest from ACHR Aviation themselves. Guys, it's just a great day overall. We're above the $6. I think we hit $7 at one stage. But how are we feeling?
You know, it has been an amazing time. Big shout out to all the ACHR enthusiasts and investors. Again, whether you're new or old, welcome to the channel. We love having you here. And for me, I am out of town on vacation, but I could not wait to get this all set up and get this earnings call going. And I think Liam said there was a lot of excitement for me going into this call. And I think we'll touch on some stuff we're interested to hear about. But man, getting the news today, lovely day for the ACHR investor enthusiasts and holders. So how you doing, Goat?
Doing good, man. Just glad to be here. Glad that ACHR's got amazing news. Glad that we still haven't forgotten about the last news with the Halo and the Thunder variant of the military side of the partnership with Anduril. It's just, I mean, it just seems like ACHR is competing or repetitively stacking amazing news every week, maybe 2 weeks, and I'm loving every second of it.
Do you know what? It actually caught me off guard. I was just out on my day today. For first time in a long time, I haven't actually checked the market early morning, and then everything started popping off. We got that news of the intent to acquire Wisk, in situ, and Skygrid, and we will jump into that now. I'm just gonna shoot an email to ACHR Aviation here, but how do you feel initially? What are your thoughts around this acquisition? Dylan, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think it's an amazing full circle moment when I saw it today, because initially when we were getting into ACHR Aviation, there was a lot of talk about the lawsuits between Boeing and Wisk with ACHR, and then you even had Adam going on Molly's show and really saying that was his like welcome to the NFL moment. Like he's like, getting attacked by the big dogs, the big lawyers, and to have a few years later have this come wrap back around to where now ACHR is going over to Boeing and saying, because again through the lawsuit we kind of knew that there was going to be around 2030 that there was going to be certain IPs and information from Wisk that was going to be coming over. So I think that this again states to ACHR's confidence in pushing forward and not waiting for that to just be delivered and saying, let's hit the go button and start moving forward. And the last thing I'll tail off real quick is when Ziad came out, well, actually, even prior to that, when we were looking at the ATC being modernized, I wanted ACHR to be the one. I wanted Palantir to be the winner. But we would talk and we would say, does ACHR have enough flight hours? And does it make sense that Palantir would win that with ACHR's flight hours? But what I was always curious of is they were still holding on to the past lawsuit that had happened with Boeing and Wisk. So I was curious if that was flight data that ACHR would be able to basically retain or pick up. And now we know through this acquisition, again, not by waiting time, Adam stepped in and now they got a revenue basically they got something bringing in revenue even before commercial ops. So okay, you guys,
$200 million a year in revenue coming from one of the three companies that they acquired from Boeing today. That is just, it's a great start, and it's a great look for ACHR Aviation, to be honest with you, just to have this now partnership with what was seen as a former rival in Boeing. You've now got them owning a big significant stake in ACHR, and they're going to be helping ACHR, and because they want to make their money now, so they're going to be helping ACHR, collaborating with them, and Boeing times ACHR is going to be very effective, and ACHR is not going to sleep around anymore. They are here, and they are here to stay.
Everyone were quite bullish on Wisk. ACHR will now own Wisk. We're thinking about the Gen 6 aircraft. I'm not saying that they will completely push through Gen 6 to fruition, but Gen 6 is looking for their transition by the end of the year. It's fully autonomous, 4 passengers on board. look, we could see them just completely scrap the Gen 6 vehicle and more or less strip back that autonomous technology. However, another vehicle, it's not a bad thing. We now have Gen 6. We have the Lilium patents previously acquired. We also have with in situ, I think there's something like 3,500 unmanned aerial systems actually being delivered to 35 countries. Look, I just threw a thought out there to the guys. What if these 35 nations that they've already supplied wanted 10 funder each? If they wanted 10 funder each, that's 350 funder ready to go. What if they want 10 Halo each? That's another 350 ready to go. And you know these nations are going to want more than 10, especially if it's for the offensive capabilities with Thunder. That's just going to keep needing to be replenished. In situ, already 200 million in revenue. It is profitable. I know Electric Whisper says that could mean anything. It could mean 5 million profitability. Doesn't matter. It's profitable. Archer will grow on this. It is another stepping stone to becoming an end-to-end company. They said this enables the AI side of the company to become end-to-end. It complements Z. We're wondering why Z got announced prior to the earnings. This is why. This is why, because now we can understand. As we said before, the jigsaw pieces are coming together. We don't understand why something happens. We didn't understand why Hawthorne was acquired. But everything just seems to be coming together now. Skygrid. Remember all the excitement about Skygrid? But Archer will now own Skygrid. Now, I want to make clear, guys, this does not mean today Archer now owns Wisk. They own Skygrid, they own In Situ. That's still looking to be done. We're hoping by the end of the year, Archer Aviation is saying. But I don't know. I just feel like Archer are building an absolute powerhouse. A juggernaut is waiting. People are saying, look, it was a complete equity offering. Look, Boeing would not want to be a stakeholder in Archer Aviation if they thought Archer Aviation was going to fail. Archer now have one of the biggest, if not the biggest, airline manufacturer on their side as a partner. We can see down here, they've taken a stake, but they also become a strategic partner in Archer. The only one as big as Boeing, I would say, is Airbus. Boeing dominate. Imagine the contacts Boeing have. What would they be? 30-40% of aircraft flown commercially? What if Boeing now say, right, if you want an air taxi service run into a Boeing service, you now have to use a Boeing strategic partner in the midnight. So I don't know. I think it's a lot bigger than people are initially thinking.
And let's also think back to those early MOUs, because I know that the $6 billion order book has been touted, and in 2023, 2024, those were a good leg to stand on. But we've seen how these companies have matured. But also, we've looked and we've been honest to have them deliver on the MOUs, and digging deeper into those, especially with the airlines, there were certain safety restrictions that may have had to been tied up prior to deployment of the aircraft over to the United and the Southwest. But for me, what I know with Southwest, a lot of their aircraft are Boeing, the 737s and such. So to me, like you're saying, Liam, I mean, we've ran this course for a few years of looking at automotive backers for really not just the funding, but the knowledge, the assembly line knowledge and how to ramp the assembly lines and such like that. And like you said, now you already have Boeing, who is an aerospace manufacturer. So big check on that. And then when we already have these partnerships with United and Southwest, just like you're saying, if there's any of those things that Archer needs to figure out with a certain little safety regulation or to match to the FAA, this is going to bleed into, when you're taking a Southwest flight, you in essence could be possibly getting on a Boeing eVTOL that would be then taking you to a Boeing aircraft to go ahead and depart on your ride. So I think it's a great accumulation, but ecosystem, I think, is a word that I'm going to keep starting to use within Archer Aviation, that they're growing. And I think what they're doing is just what Adam said last quarter. They're being a multifaceted business. Again, for myself, I originally invested for the commercial deployment of Midnight, and I'm still invested for the commercial deployment of Midnight. And I'm very excited to see how that continues to mature and materialize. Yet it is amazing to see that it's almost like Adam is not ready to just kind of sit and rest and wait for commercialization on Midnight to come. And again, hopefully we hear more about the clean sheet builds of Halo and Thunder that have came. But again, it's like, it just seems with Archer and with Adam, there's a brick wall that he is not willing to go and try to bust through. It's like he's going to drive 100 miles per hour and he's going to try to get through those FAA brick walls. And it's going to be really exciting to hear him talk on this call and get those prepared remarks.
Before I jump into Graham's question here, you're one man I really want to speak to about this, because you've openly said that you are incredibly backing the defensive side of Archer Aviation. Mm-hmm. How would you feel the likes of in situ benefits that whole defensive capability on Archer Aviation?
Well, there's one thing that I don't think anybody's thought of yet, and that's the Thunder aircraft, which is made by Archer and Anduril, can actually hold military drones, and it can deploy them autonomously, whatever you want to do it. It can deploy its own drones. So there is a world, there is a case, a scenario, whatever you want to call it, where Archer Aviation's Thunder aircraft is holding these drones that they've just acquired, and now Archer Aviation now has their hand in every single aspect of the Thunder besides the bullets and the guns. The drones are Archer, the aircraft is Archer, and then Anduril just puts guns on it. I mean, that is 100% in the realm of possibility now. And you've also got to realize, too, this means that they can go fly over enemy territory and do these super dangerous missions that no pilot would ever do. They would never send a pilot on these missions. You're going to get shot down. And I'm trying not to say anything I can't say.
Yeah. You're on a tightrope here.
Let's say you're going to get eliminated if you send a pilot there. Let's send this autonomous aircraft with these autonomous drones to surveil the area completely autonomously, not risking any life. We'll get the information we need. If the plane gets shot down, it gets shot down. Who cares? Let's move on to the next one. We didn't lose a single soldier. And that is the... And Dylan mentioned earlier he joined for the air taxi. I joined for the defense aspect of the company. So that is amazing to me. I love the Boeing thing, but I'm still on Team Archer and Anduril.
I apologize to Goat there. I literally put him up on a tightrope against YouTube guidelines and he had to navigate his way through, but thank you for that. Guys, in situ, anyone that doesn't know, is a pioneer in designing, developing, manufacturing UAS. So that's uncrewed aircraft systems used in intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. That screams to me a benefit of Halo, but we all are forgetting about Omen as well. This will benefit Omen. But not only that, its product portfolio spans high-performance, cost-effective, resilient, VTOL-capable UAS and AI-enabled software solutions. This will benefit Z and all. InTune technologies have helped the armed forces of 35 nations make quicker, more informed decisions to bring, I'm not going to say that word, home safely. With offices in US, Australia, UK, and UAE, they've manufactured and fielded 3,500 UAS and provides operation and support networks in every hemisphere on the globe. I bet Anduril are licking their lips at this. This screams a benefit to Anduril. It seems like we're gone very down that defensive side. We're not. Wisk itself have accumulated 1,700 flight tests over 16 years. That is very similar to your Joby Aviation now.
Yeah.
This has unmatched autonomous capabilities. This has been built for pure autonomy. No cab or no cockpit in this. This is a full autonomous aircraft. It's looking to be rolled out in 2030, and that is when they were hoping that they'd get certification for your autonomous aircraft. Could this be flipped straight into Midnight? We're hoping that the capabilities can be stripped back and put directly onto Midnight. But who's saying they won't just go with the Gen 6 aircraft and keep developing it? And that'll be your autonomous vehicle too. Look, it hasn't transitioned yet. For anyone that jumps on and saying it hasn't transitioned, they're looking to transition by the end of the year. Boeing still own them. They're still full steam ahead, guys.
True.
So we hope by the time ACHR acquire them, Gen 6 will have fully transitioned as well. Another great benefit. SkyGrid has built a leading ground-based aircraft agnostic air traffic management solution. This is going to fit straight into Z as well, guys. It establishes the digital foundation for future automated airspace. SkyGrid enables safe integration, scalable automation, and coordinated air traffic management that is necessary for commercialization across the aviation ecosystem. ACHR will be fully autonomous, and it'll be fully autonomous quicker than we think. Joe Ben it was the previous earnings call for Joby Aviation said 5 years away, we can see fully autonomous S4. ACHR look like they're going down the exact same route there. So maybe, just maybe, the first time you step foot on one of these aircraft, it will be fully autonomous. Look, if piloted is what, as we say, full rollout, I believe, is after the IPP, which should be 2030. If we do get fully autonomous certified by 2030, by the time you actually step foot on a Midnight, it may be a fully autonomous aircraft. There may be no pilot involved at all. This is a lot bigger than what first meets the eye. Again, I can't stress enough the fact that Boeing have gone for a full equity. Boeing wouldn't do that if they think ACHR is going to fail. Why wouldn't they just want cash? Because you can say that they can acquire Wisk if ACHR went under, but then they're going to have to pay money for what they originally owned in the first place. They know ACHR is going places. I believe ACHR is going places. And I want to jump straight into the question that, who was it? Graham said, were any of you guys expecting this? Short answer, no.
Short answer, double down. No. I was waiting for 2030.
Would have been massive. Let alone acquire Wisk.
And it definitely speeds up this timeline for autonomous flight because, like Liam was saying earlier, ACHR and Joby will now likely be flying autonomously at around the same time, which is just crazy to think about because ACHR is 9 years younger as a company than Joby is. So is there, it's just crazy that ACHR has made so much progress in the last year, and I'm thrilled to the moon about it.
9 years younger, and now it's gained another 16 years of experience from another company. It is
insane,
massive. Goldstein himself said it's a watershed moment in physical AI in aviation and defense. The next big step forward is becoming a diversified platform, rapidly growing their revenue base and bringing scale to their business. It's another revenue generating opportunity as well. There's just so much. I think this alone could be a live stream, let alone having the earnings as well and what we're going to hear in the earnings. And we will get into what Dylan said it to me before the stream. What are we expecting on this earnings? I said that's completely thrown out the window now. What I was expecting on earnings because I was not expecting this. So be excited.
It's exciting news when your wife rolls over and is the one that is like, "Oh my God, did you hear that ACHR?" And it's like, that is correct. It is came true, and I think, like you say,
trying to tell my wife, and I literally could not speak. My
Yeah.
jaw was just on the floor. I couldn't pick it up. It was so heavy, and I was just trying to tell her. She's like, "Slow down. Tell me what's going on." And she thought that something really bad happened, and I was just like, "Oh no, this is amazing." I had actually planned on adding to my Archer shares before, because I knew there would be either a big announcement here at 7 my time in the morning, or at the earnings call on the shareholder letter.
Mhm.
And I slept in by 5 minutes, and it killed me.
I
But
and it
yeah,
was that quick today, you know.
it was
And I
literally
was
that quick. And then all of a
talking.
sudden, I'm getting notifications: Archer Aviation stocks up 20%. And I'm like, good grief, what the heck? I
Yeah.
mean, it was almost
Yeah.
$7.
No, and good job to the holders. And
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, Liam, you go for it if you got something, because I want to keep you in the loop.
Guys, there's 60 of you in there at the moment. This is going to be the biggest retail live stream of Archer Aviation's earnings. We are having someone from Archer Aviation joining us here. I cannot tell you, is it going to be prior or post earnings, but be excited. Be excited. The first time we have had Archer Aviation talk to the retail space here on the Hustle Brothers. So, yeah, you asked for it. We've delivered. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. This will go to subscriber only once Archer Aviation join the earnings. I can't have people messing me about on such a special day. So make sure, if you want to be able to engage with us, make sure you're smashing that subscribe button completely free. Oh my, I just have no words to say. Archer Aviation currently, we're in the way here. You can see they were at $6.20. We did push all the way up to $7. Round opening bell, we're starting to climb back up towards closing bell, $6.23. We've had guys saying we're going all the way to free, etc. People have said we're flogging a dead horse here. Look, we said believe, back the company. It's all puzzle pieces, guys. It seems to be coming. It seems to be coming slowly. This is not the end. This is extremely good news. I still believe there's a lot more news to come. Maybe not on this earnings, but coming in. We said back half of the year with all the eVTOL companies, back half of the year is always the strongest part of the year. And look, this is Q2. We still have Q3, Q4. So if they come out in the earnings call and give us an update on 704AX and a transition timeline, do you think this stock is going to fly?
You know, and I think this is one where, again, I talking with Liam earlier, where I think Archer Aviation has, you know, to the market, it's caused a little bit of market confusion. You know, it's trying to figure out, you know, is Archer Aviation a airline company? Is Archer Aviation going to be a hardware player? Are they going to be a software player with Z and the AI advancements there? You know, and then looking at the timelines of the FAA certain approvals. So, I mean, I just think for everybody that's kind of weathered any confusing market days for what, you know, as we see other sectors, you know, run or sell off, you know, I think that 24% pump, I think that gets a little bit of the markets and the algos to kind of click in to this vision of what Archer Aviation has really laid these stepping stones. And again, you know, I think Hawthorne is one of the big ones we can go back to. But again, every piece that they've been putting in place to make themselves a successful company, and again, to reward the investors and coming back. So again, having the opportunity now to have an additional revenue stream brought in, I'm very curious to see if we'll have any customers announced or customers in the pipeline for Z, because again, that was spoke to bring some revenue in through Q3. So I think maybe what we're also seeing is Adam layering in through either half yearly or yearly opportunities to have that additional revenue stream come on to the books. So it's not just like, okay, we're going to start off this quarter, we're going to put revenue, and it's basically going to be sequential revenue quarter over quarter, you know, maybe up or down a few million. I think this is when we really start to take notice, you know, because I think a few months back for me and a few weeks, it was about, okay, let's look and see what scale and ramp of manufacturing and start to really capture those numbers. But now I think, again, as we have these foundational building blocks of what can be these revenue generating opportunities for Archer, you know, again, it brings those thoughts of, is the company going to need to dilute when they're at $10 and $12? I can't tell you they will. I can't tell you they won't. But again, with these stepping stones and foundational models to bring revenue through in the company, I think it speaks to something like, another one like Beta Technologies, where they've been able to go out and secure firm orders. And that way they've been able to reward their investors by not having to tap the equity market at that time. So again, with Archer, I think if you're seeing the plan kind of come into place, we stay open-minded. And Adam is the CEO, the founder, so people that like founder-led companies, this is one, again, and Adam coming not from the aviation specific background, but coming from the business world. And like I was saying, when Zia came out, it's like Adam was back in his home field of software. This man can probably sell software to, ice to polar bears and all that kind of stuff. So, and he's been figuring out how do you sell the hardware. But again, what he's done, he's opened up defense business units. He's developed relationships with Palmer Luckey, who is a huge up and coming player in what procurement from the Department of War could possibly be. And then again, you see not just Thunder and Halo being displayed at Farnborough. You have Anduril, who's literally, they're the ones making the promotional video to go ahead and really explain how they intend to use that Thunder unmanned aircraft. So I think it's really cool because, again, we could have said last year that Archer was a little heavy on the PR. But again, I'll double down and say, for me, that's okay, because Adam's spreading the word about this possibility. So we're going to look for the commercial air taxi services to continue to push forward through the EIPP. It'll be interesting to see, what are the first, commercial and revenue opportunities as Archer enters the latter half of the year. And then as we enter 2027, again, looking at Halo and basically wrapping the background to Palmer, where, anybody can read to what they choose from it. But to me, Palmer Luckey is somebody who has a company and has spoken about IPOing on the stock exchange. So for me, my best bet from Palmer would be to work with companies who are going to have really tactical items that they're going to be able to showcase and also have the government procure, which is going to bring a revenue to Anduril's balance sheet, which is going to support their IPO. And then also when we get the quarterly earning updates after that. So I'll leave it off on this one, where it was really cool to see Adam and Palmer standing next to each other, holding that model of Thunder up. And like I said, I'm ready to almost redesign the studio and put some shelves up, take down the backdrop, the music backdrop, and get a shelf up and get me a 704AX model, get me a Thunder model put up, and really start rocking forward through these next years.
Guys, you remember in the Joby Aviation earnings call, if any of you weren't here, we ran a giveaway. Dylan kindly gave away official Joby Aviation merch to 3 lucky subscribers. We also gave away 5 channel memberships.
Nice.
I'm tying with the idea of doing something very, very similar. So make sure you're smashing that like button, smashing that subscribe to be entered in with a chance to win. You have to be here for the whole stream. There's no point us giving it to someone that has just left. We want to give it to dedicated people. You're at the Hustle Brothers, 0 ads. We're the only eVTOL channel streaming this live with 0 ads, 0 interruptions. People think we pump the stock. Well, surely on a day like today, we should be putting ads on our videos, because we are generating no revenue here for this earnings. We do it out of the passion. We do it to show you guys that, look, this information is free. It should never be hidden behind a paywall. And I want to keep the way of the Hustle Brothers here. This is an interesting question. Cedric wants to know from Archer the direct operating cost of Midnight, such as how often do propellers need to be replaced and general cost of the upkeep for Midnight. Do you know what, Cedric? And this is not me being smart, but it doesn't really matter to Archer Aviation, the actual general upkeep of the Midnight, because they're actually selling it. So if they need a prop replaced, they need a service off the Midnight. It's not like Joby where they have to fork out that cost themselves. That's actually more revenue for Archer Aviation because they're actually selling the aircraft. It's like if you buy a Tesla and, I don't know, your computer goes on your Tesla, you need to go back to Tesla and you pay them to fix it for you.
I like that.
So Archer is like a coil spring, Rowley says, just waiting on catalysts. If it doesn't happen on this call, it'll definitely be Q4, the earnings call. I care won't happen for another 9 or 10 years. Do you know, Go, I'm going to give you a get out of jail free card here. Yeah, I'm putting Go on the spot. You said you're out if they don't transition. Does this acquisition change that for you?
Good question.
No, they promised a transition from N704AX by the end of the year. I'm still going to hold on to what I said. If they don't do that, then I'll probably still be out. Unless there's a legitimate reason, or, you know, that's really, if there's a legitimate reason, I'll give them some slack. But, you know, it's
Doubling
not
down
to pressure Archer. It's really just because I want to give myself a standard of holding the stock. But I will say, as I was leaving work to come get on this call with y'all, I got a notification that N704AX was on FlightAware. And I didn't look at it until literally just now while Dylan was talking. And if you just want to take a look, I hope it's not blurry, but N704AX, it's probably very blurry. If you want to go on FlightAware, you can look at it. It hit 500 feet in the air today.
VTOL.
Yeah. Here's the.
Well, and I think off of that too, one thing that came out of the call last time is Adam said that he was testing multiple aircrafts a day. And as that was coming, we were not seeing that specifically on FlightAware. So you had N703AX that actually went and took a 51-mile flight today. And that took them 24 minutes. And then you also had basically two liftoffs from N704AX as they continue to progress through that VTOL envelope. So, you know, I think, you know, it would be great to hear from Tom to continue to get some of those updates, because I am really curious if what they have designated as their clean sheet build for Midnight, and basically on the last few calls, they've said that they've had the clean sheet Midnight build, and this is going to be the one that they go for the defense project. So unless they were just not really wanting to reveal the name Thunder and kind of get us going in a whole nother kind of rabbit hole of things that we weren't quite sure about yet, you know, and labeling the other Midnight, labeling the other clean sheet build as a Midnight as well. Still curious to see if there is a clean sheet Midnight that maybe is looking to be maybe a little less weaponized and could do some of that surveillance, reconnaissance missions, even a little bit of border control, as Adam did that appearance on that show Marshals earlier in the year. So, I mean, it's almost like under the wings of Archer now. You have 703AX, a CTOL aircraft. You have N704AX. You have the Generation 6 model from Wisk, who, again, if Archer felt that there was something that was not right with their aircraft, they literally now have Wisk's basically IP in their aircraft under their belt. So if there's anything that they needed to tail off of that, they now have. The Lilium acquisition and the patents, I mean, those were acquired. And again, even when we got to Thunder and Halo, it's like when you're kind of looking at Archer Aviation so much, it's again those kind of key details. And I had said on Omen, I was a little hesitant at the beginning to kind of call out what that powertrain system was looking like for me, because we were kind of tailing off a little bit of these Tesla rumors that had swirled. And for me and Liam, I know it's like we want to go with fact and not fiction, and really, you know, look at the breadcrumbs, but not connect dots that aren't there. So it'll be interesting to see if now Thunder basically is the defense product that Archer Aviation is pushing forward with, or there's also some clean builds that Tom's going to speak on some more. And as we know, Tom is still with Archer Aviation. So, you know, I appreciate him showing his face and coming out and quieting the crowd, because, again, I think, you know, as much as we do applaud Adam and the team at Archer, you know, really Tom has been doing amazing things, because, again, the situation at Archer is you got a CEO who's there to build the team. You know, it's almost like a general manager. And you have Tom, who's really there. It's like he's the offensive defensive coordinator. You know, he's the one to set the plays. You know, it's like he's the tenured guy with all the experience and coming in. And, you know, to all the other engineers that are working on the team, just a lot of appreciation and a lot of props to everybody at Fly Archer. for everything that they've been doing, minimally through this last quarter, and factually for 2, 3, and 4 years. Because as fun as it is to cover Archer, I can only imagine what it's like to be in those buildings. And I'll leave it on this, that I saw something the other day where it's like, it's amazing to be tired from a job that you once wished you could have. Meaning, it's just amazing that you have these people in the aerospace industry who probably had these dreams of certain aircrafts or propulsion systems or mechanisms on the aircraft that they thought could come to fruition and be true one day, and were maybe even shot down by other companies and were said, no, this will never work, or this and that. And then you have this collaboration of Adam Goldstein coming out of Vettery, first linking with Brett Adcock to have Maker and get that going. And then again, we look where Brett seems to still be very supportive of Archer Aviation and the mission that they're doing. So even as you had Brett split off and go over to Figure to do the humanoid robotics and such, again, it'll be very interesting, as I've said, to see if that relationship again will kind of come 360. And once we get into this mass manufacturer, as Figure has been helping BMW already on assembly lines, and like you said, Liam, now we got Boeing, that's an assembly line partner, possibly Brett Adcock in the pocket. So a lot of excitement with Archer.
Do you want me to show you how live this is, guys? I had to jump off there. I'm that stressed out about this whole thing. I had a nosebleed in the middle of it. I was like,
no, you did not.
Wow.
That's true. The true passion from the host of the Huffer Brothers right there, man. That's too classic. That's gonna
Right.
that'll be a trivia question in like 2 years, everybody.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why
We
Liam
had
Coast,
the first
stay tight.
of the Hustle Brothers on live.
Cedric says, well,
let's
if
go.
their aircraft are not economically viable for airlines to operate and maintain them, then they might not sell much, right? If the propellers need to be replaced every 100 flights. Look, I think they'll follow along the standard required for all eVTOL providers. I don't think they're going to certify an aircraft that needs their blades replaced after every 100 flights. That'd be, every 10 days or so on these aircraft.
And I'm sorry, Liam, but to keep in mind too, and not as a real counterpoint, and I think that Cedric is great points to bring up, because I think this is what keeps us thinking about the possibilities of these companies having success and the longevity and the revenue that they can bring in. And with Archer going off the shelf, you're basically bringing in parts that are already proven, or in a sense FAA certified. It's like now we just have to put the Lego piece of different certified products or proven out aspects of the aircraft and put them all into one machine, have them all talk to each other and be doing the right things at the right times together. So, and yeah, I think that is just, it's for me, especially in the early stages, I think the way that Adam's going about sale of aircraft could be a very lucrative one in these early days.
Then we had another good one there. 2 seconds. If they don't get the transition, does that mean Halo Thunder is blank in the water? No, they're completely different aircraft, my guy. That is going to be hybrid as well, but no, it's completely different design. Everything, rotor's different. Everything's different about it. So no, and plus it's autonomous. It's not piloted.
Pretty much everything but the powertrain is different, from my understanding. Like the entire aircraft is completely different. It instead of the actual propellers tilting to go vertical and then forward, you've got the entire wing, or the entire end of the wing. I don't know the technical terminology, but the entire tip of the wing tilts, and it's a completely different aircraft. So if there is a situation where N704AX does not perform a transition flight in 2026, I wouldn't be worried about Thunder and Halo.
Well, and also just something that I was kind of glancing over when I was talking about Omen and the powertrain. Once I saw Thunder and Halo, to me, it just screamed the OSTR rotors that they had picked up and acquired from Overair. And again, the cream, the DARPA connections. I mean, it just goes so deep into there. And, I think, for me, I'd like to hear a little bit of information on where 705AX is, and maybe what they're deeming the what's it called? The basically prototype of N704 and how confident they're feeling on that to go ahead and do what Joby had done maybe around this time last year, where they did the pencils down and power on testing. So it'd be really exciting to see as they push forward. But I think, again, not that I'm saying we need to go through any sort of aft prop blade change, as they've already made that change and feel confident that the 4-blade aft props are going to be able to do the work in transition. You know, a big plus to the OSTR rotors and just to the Halo and Thunder comment is you're having multiple speeds in which you're able to vertically lift and then go to forward flight. So again, as we talk about all of this battery storage that's needed, how much recharge time, how much time are these aircraft going to be able to hover, and how much battery will it burn, these OSTR tilt rotors really take away some of that main, air quotes, main focus on the battery tech, and can possibly get these aircraft up in the air a little bit quicker or more efficiently. So, you know, it's one of those things. I'm not looking or expecting any change to Midnight, but I do think it's very nice that they got the OSTR rotors in their pocket if needed, though.
Then this is a very interesting question. Sorry, mate, I can't pronounce your name. I actually raised this question on X earlier, and it's not, I think some people thought I didn't understand that it's an equity offering. Is it a dilution event waiting to happen? Potentially, yes, because I believe the operating costs will increase tremendously from acquiring these 3 businesses. I think it'll be something pretty similar to Joby Aviation's dilution event. But at the end of the day, we have Boeing behind us. Everyone keeps touting about which is the best automotive manufacturer going into aerospace. But at the same time, let's call a spade a spade. We're in airspace. Who is the best manufacturer to have behind you? Is another aerospace provider that has already done it.
Absolutely.
Yes, there's an awful lot that you can take from the likes of your Stellantises and your Toyotas. But at the same time, this is different. We're entering a completely new sector. And who's better equipped? That's up to you to decide with this. I still think Toyota is a mega partner with Joby, and that's nothing against Joby. But having Stellantis, people were bashing Stellantis. We now have Boeing beside us. So I don't know. I think ACHR are really building something here. And dilution event, no dilution event, I'll be backing them to the hills.
And I think if they were at this point and, you know, 704AX had never been deemed airworthy and, you know, these pieces of the puzzle in the last year would not come together, I think, again, these words dilution would be a little bit more scary to me. But I think, again, there are going to be capital raises if they happen. But again, it's the what's and the whys are they raising the capital for? And it's if it's able to really speed up what the end goal for these companies are and to get to the showcase and to get to Innovate 28. You know, I think at the end of the day, and I mean, we can look at it through the stock sales of Adam himself. To me, he hasn't found the company valued at what he foresees the company to be valued at. You know, he's not one that's quickly selling the shares that he's, you know, recouping. And so, yeah, I think it's one of the ones where, you know, if we're long-term holders, you know, it's easy to want to buy on green days instead of red days sometimes, because it feels like all the momentum's going in the right way. And it's like, okay, my thesis is working. We're going the way back up. Let me throw a little bit more into this. And then, you know, when it feels like we're at 480 and 460, it's like, oh no, was my thesis broken, you know, down X percentage. But again, you know, it's all again to what timeline. And, you know, I think this could be a time where we start to get that liquidity back from traders that could be coming into the sector, as it feels like more around the $7 low mark is about when the traders start to take notice. And, you know, we'll look for new intraday highs that come through. And, you know, like Liam said, in the past years, it does seem like the fall and winter times for the market is when the eVTOL companies seem to have a little bit of more market success. So, you know, we don't have the crystal ball, but, you know, I'll still put my price target of 1250 out there on ACHR. It was reached last year. It ultimately got rejected more through, I think, a little bit of dilution, but really the macro kind of took a downturn really on all the high beta, especially non-revenue generating, which I always feel interesting, where we can have a company here that was non-revenue generating, yet was not holding debt. And sometimes it was almost feeling like the market was rewarding some that would have, let's say, a physical quote unquote product, or even in the quantum space, this like product or idea of a product, getting the qubits going and such. But there's a ton of debt on the balance sheet. Soundtown AI, it sounds like a great idea. They're being incorporated into Wendy's and such like that. There's a ton of debt on their balance sheet. So
Hmm.
to the individual investor, at just taking all of those cash balances and revenue driving opportunities, and making the best decisions that we can make.
Guys, keep smashing that like button. One over 100 likes and we'll bring ACHR Aviation in here. Also, smash that subscribe button. We'll be running a free giveaway. You have to be subscribed, you have to hit the like, and you have to be here until the
And
end of the call.
that was fun too, because and please know that we take notice in a very kind way, because it's so cool to see all of the ones that have been here. Shout out to Bag, a day one, Christian, a day one. Kotor's been coming in. Everybody that's new coming in. It's just we really appreciate again this aspect of growing a community around ACHR Aviation as well as the eVTOL sector. And I get it that the long game is for all us to probably want to come out of this on the green end in our portfolios. But again, we're going to do our best to bring you the information that's factual and up to date with ACHR. And on the eVTOL weeklies, we always have a little bit of fun, and maybe that's when we can kind of tinfoil hat and start trying to hypothesize what's going on behind the doors of ACHR. But it's really exciting to see them. And really quick, I'd like to be given a little bit of information on their ramp of CapEx, and to see how that's going for factory and facility build out. So again, this is one of those calls I said on X the other day. It's like, I feel like, and this was pre to the Boeing announcement, that this almost feels like we need the fireside chat with Adam. So it's like, I feel like we need just like 2 hours with Adam just to talk. And then it's like, okay, go do your earnings call, go bang out your prepared remarks, do a great job with that. And as always, I'm going to be very interested in the follow-up Q&As. Again, for me, I'm always going to highlight Savi, and I think Amit from AC Wainwright was really knocking out some questions on past eVTOL calls as well. So excited for the Q&A too to come up.
Big shout out to Anthony, Sector Bull Searcher to $100. Anthony, big investor in Horizon Aircraft, and he has done a few videos there with both games. So make sure to check them out. Cedric says, okay, well, I just read some more information on why the V-22 Osprey is so costly to operate, and I feel better about Thunder. And I think there's a lot of comparisons between the V-22 Osprey and ACHR's Thunder and Midnight. Completely two different aircraft. They look alike from the outset, but no, they're two different aircraft.
Adam Goldstein says it's not an Osprey, no hydraulics, no cross shaft, electric engine. Will be complicated, but not Osprey complicated. That's from Adam Goldstein on X.
Yeah, and this goes into the whole fly-by-wire system, so that's why it's so important. It's not your hydraulics. When you go left, this piston has to shoot down to row, to yaw left or yaw right. It's really this integrated fly-by-wire computer system. And again, we saw Beta Tech come out with an amazing one that was great enough for New Horizon to take notice and procure their fly-by-wire. So yeah, it's one of those things where on the outside, some of these aircraft can be like, is that similar? Is that the same? But I mean, it really gets into the nuts and bolts and the system wirings and just how much different IP goes into building out these aircraft. It's very exciting. It's very exciting, these new age aircraft that are coming.
And it's fascinating how the Thunder Halo actually works too. So it actually runs off jet fuel. It was originally speculated that it was all electric, but it runs off jet fuel. The jet fuel goes to power a generator, and that generator is what turns on the motors and rotates the propellers. It runs 100% off jet fuel, no need to charge. And when you think about it, that's really a good thing, because in a military situation, you don't see all these aircraft carriers carrying chargers. They don't have the beta charging cubes. They don't have the geeks charging from Joby. They have jet fuel. And so to have an effective military aircraft, you've got to have it run on jet fuel. When's the last time you saw a refueling helicopter charging another aircraft? You have never seen that, and you never will. You will see that 100 times a day probably with jet fuel. Jet fuel has to happen if you want to use it in the military.
And that's the thing. If you're going into front line, and you can't be just landing and hooking up to the next power station that you see charging, more or less, there will be very little power stations around you to fill her up.
And sorry, because I know we're super excited. So and two, I think it speaks a little bit to what we've heard on multiple calls. And I'm not even going to take it as a shot at Joby anymore. I'm just going to take it as more factual of what the difference is to even the aircraft or the unmanned aircraft that we're seeing, where you can't just go and slap a hybrid propulsion system on the side of a Midnight. I'll use the Midnight in this example, and have that be the specs that the DOW and or Angel were looking for. So again, it's those things that for the last year we weren't able to hear a lot about, and then you have Thunder Unveiled, and you get to see what the difference of an aircraft, of a clean sheet build versus, again, taking the aircraft that you've been working on and just basically giving it a new propulsion system to work off of for range.
Guys, pushing in, what are we, 4 minutes till closing bell? We're up, what,
Okay.
12%? We're starting to climb quite nicely into closing bell. Look, as I say in all my earnings, if you're in now, you're in. If you want to get out, you have got out. Do not worry, whatever happens over the next 12 hours, we might get a massive sell-off. All this news, we could get a massive sell-off on earnings. You're going to have people jumping in saying it was the worst thing since sliced bread. You could have everyone jumping in saying it was the best thing since sliced bread. Till opening bell tomorrow, we just do not know what is going to happen. So you're either in or you're out. Don't go messing around with earnings. You'll probably get stung either way. Are we expecting, guys, us to go up or down on earnings?
The pump or dump question, right? Let's see. What you want to go first, Goat, or what you think?
Yeah, I can go first. I think a lot of the sentiment around Archer Aviation is tied to N704AX. Yes, this Boeing thing was amazing. It's jumped the stock over 20%. Love it. The Thunder Halo thing, amazing. But they want to know about N704AX. And I'm here to tell you, you're not going to see a transition flight on this earnings call. Do not expect it. If you go into thinking that you will see a transition flight, the telemetry tells me way otherwise. It will not happen. You might as well not listen if you're expecting that. So because of that, I'm expecting a sharp jump like we had this morning, and it will probably be followed by a sharp decline. I hate to tell you that, but that's my prediction.
I'm feeling we're gonna sell off. We're gonna sell off, I believe. I think we're gonna sell off on a massive pump like that anyway. You need a little bit of.
Never holds a pump over 10%. That's just
you need a little bit of a relax.
Trends of the stock, that alone will tell you that we're going to have a small dump. And you, as an investor, that's not going to sell in the next 5 to 10 years. That should be a great opportunity for you. But if you're planning on swing trading this earnings and you've bought calls, I wish you the best of luck.
Look, we could be wrong. Probably are going to be wrong. But so. I would expect us to go red at close. Dylan, how are you feeling?
It was interesting the way that Joby reacted. It almost seemed like there was no move during that call at all. And I almost expected the next day that Joby was going to sell off. Personally, what I felt during the call, and no immediate reaction, market reaction after. And Joby got some love the next day in the market. So, again, I think, I think it's a dual thing for me. I'm going to go on the side of pump. I'm going to put it out there that this is going to be the best spoken call, the best Q&A. And this is the call where we literally have answers to defense questions. We have answers to transition questions. We have answers to software questions. We have answers to revenue questions. I think, again, one of the boxes or that this and these companies have been in a little bit is, again, where are we going to deploy the commercial aircraft when they do start rolling off the production line? So I'd love to hear from Archer how they are feeling when they are starting to build an aircraft and their time on maybe getting that out of the end line of that production door. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, tomorrow too, if there's any, and again, don't take these as gospel, but any analyst re-ratings on the company, and to see how that drives the market sentiment as well. So I know it's been a big day for Archer, but it looks like at the moment we're in a new channel. So again, whether that's going to be a consolidating channel or one that we know that there's channels above this for Archer. I haven't checked in a while any open gaps, but yeah, non-financial advice, but I'm going to go on the pump side, and that we're going to hear a lot on this call that we previously hadn't heard on prior ones.
Scott says Boeing won't buy in if it didn't have potential. I agree there. Look, we've hit closing bell 626, 11.9% on the day. Fantastic.
Good job,
I am now
guys.
going to take this off the screen, and I am going to keep an eye on
Love it.
the shareholder letter getting released. Archer normally pretty quick, and they are quick. It's straight out.
Nice.
Wow.
Right. Shareholder letter. Right,
Only
guys.
Archer can do it.
Let's go straight into it. Right, guys, I'm going to take... Oh, no. Comments might be okay on screen. Can you guys read that? No? Or do you want me to zoom in a bit?
I got it up on mine. So you go for what you want, Liam. And if you want... Oh, and also, I'm hoping to hear some more about ACES before we get into it. I had that down.
Yes.
I need some more on ACES too. So yeah, let's keep it going. But I got it up if you want to kick it over, Liam. And I'll follow along on my end.
Guys, jump into the chat. Let us know how you're feeling. I've taken the chat off the screen just so we go through this. So we are going through shareholder letter 2026 and look at that beauty we're looking at. Right, so the highlights. Here we go. They've signed a deal to acquire Boeing's Wisk Aero, In Situ, and SkyGrid in a highly strategic transition with Boeing to invest in Archer and collaborate. And collaborate is the big one with the asterisks. Guys, smash that like you're getting in. Unveiled Halo and Thunder, a jointly developed autonomous hybrid eVTOL platform designed to serve both defense and commercial applications with Andro. They announced Z, Archer's AI foundational model, purpose-built for aviation and its frontier breakthrough for aviation safety. They launched ACES, America's Consortium for Electric Skyways, to bring interoperable charging to 250 sites across the US by 2030 with Beta Technologies and Macquarie Capital. We've got a special guest. We've got a special guest in with us here. It's the man himself.
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Well, Adam, we can't believe it. It's nice speaking to you again, but where did you pull that one from?
What happened today? I missed it. I've been busy. Heads down. Any big news today?
Well, in your multifaceted business, Liam, you want to fill him in on the big news?
Yeah. Where have you been hiding that one? That one just came out of nowhere. I actually didn't look at the market, and everyone started pinging me left, right, and center. They're like, "Have you seen Adam's post today?" And I was like, "My God, Adam, do you want to explain a little bit about it?"
Yeah, sure. So if there ever were two eVTOL companies that could come together, it's a really natural one for us because both Archer and Wisk were building aircraft with similar architectures. We both had 12 tilt 6 aircraft. And that really enables us to think about the combination of these aircraft and the capabilities that can be synergistic versus like starting over. And Archer took a pathway that was always about finding the most efficient path to commercialization. And Wisk took a pathway about advancing certain key technologies, specifically around autonomy, the vertical, stack around flight control systems. And the differences there allow us to kind of come together and both be, better companies. But what made it even more interesting was some of the additional companies that were included in the transaction. So In Situ and SkyGrid. So In Situ is a company that does ISR drones. So think, Group 2, Group 3 drones that have been flying for, the company's been around for over 20 years. They have customers in over 35 countries, and it's revenue generating. It's positive cash flow. And so it really, from our perspective, it allows us to take some of the core technologies we've built at Archer, put them into their portfolio, expand the portfolio they have, generate cash flow, which extends our runway. It means less dilution, like over time, and also really expand our defense business as well. So it was this really nice and a kind of combination of products. And then sort of I'll call it the sleeper one in there is SkyGrid. So SkyGrid is the ATC product. So we've just started talking about our AI products, Z. And the foundation model we've been building is really, you can think about it as almost like the intelligence layer. And they've been building more of the air traffic control layer. And so if you look at global ATC, huge market in big need of modernization, not just the US, but all over. It's a really amazing opportunity for us to also go start generating revenue, introducing these AI products into the market, while the sort of eye on the prize of really expanding Midnight and commercial eVTOLs all over the world.
Thank you so much for that very detailed analysis there. Dylan, do you want to jump in with any questions for Adam?
Yeah, Adam, honestly, first, I want to say, since the acquisition of Hawthorne, I think ACHR has just continued to put these building blocks and just show how you have been delivering, being a multifaceted business. So, as Z was getting announced, I think it's been so exciting to see how that can fold into the modernization of the ATC, with you being able to have Hawthorne under master lease already, and just getting to see again where you've had 2 clean sheet builds of Midnight, and then the unveiling of Thunder and Halo. So just any excitement that you can share around Thunder, and just anything you and Palmer have been talking about that you could share?
Yeah, the journey in aviation, new aviation, is super hard. And that's the reality. It takes a long time. It's one that you have to be, willing to, chew glass for a significant amount of time. And you can look at, across the industry, it's the same thing, right? Even if you look at the existing companies, like Bell 525, that's a new product. I think that's been trying to be certified for a very long time, over 10 years. I think it's probably approaching 20 years now. So it takes a long time to do this. So there are applications that you can get to market faster with, that don't have to go through a civil certification process like defense, that can help bridge that gap, right? It can create revenue, it can create cash flows that help you bridge the gap towards the big ultimate market of consumer civil passenger aircraft. So the concept behind Halo Thunder is a wingman product that's trittable. So think substantially lower cost than in Apache, a product that can be scaled using multiple of these aircraft to fly alongside the attack helicopters, that can be produced in volume, that are autonomous, so there's not going to be people on them, that can get to market fast. And that's a product that has a huge potential TAM. Just look at the size of Apache. I don't know what the TAM on that is, but the total number of units that have been built, the amount of dollars in servicing that's gone over the time. And these are like many decade-long products. So it's an ability for us to get to market quickly, ramp and scale quickly in products that are needed right now, by the country, that we can do. At the same time, keep the eye on the prize, with the Midnight side.
Thank you.
Do you want to jump in and have a question for Adam?
Yeah. I just want to say first, congratulations on this new partnership acquisition. Congratulations on your progress with N704AX. We're loving everything y'all are doing. I just had a weird question. I don't know if you can answer it exactly, but you stated on the last earnings call that you would be starting commercial operations by the end of the year. Can you tell us what state you're planning on doing that in? Or is that too much of a bold question?
You'll have to just listen to the earnings call.
Okay.
I don't want to talk on any of that. But I actually was listening to one of your posts. It was funny. Someone sent it to me, and you had some really good analysis on something. We started with Maker, and we transitioned that aircraft after 12 months. Mm-hmm. Then we went on to the first Midnight plane, which we called Mid-Zero, which we transitioned in 9 months. We then built the next Midnight plane, which we entirely focused on the CTOL side. The CTOL side was actually quite compelling, and we learned a ton going through that. And then the next aircraft we built, we started flying VTOL from the very beginning. And if you do the sort of down the math of the improvements, it's you were like, hey, if I'm looking at the transition timelines on this, I was like, it honestly was the first piece of, like, I would call it like smart analysis like someone's done on trying to understand this stuff. And I'm not like giving you any predictions on timelines or anything, but it was logical. It was like, it was just not, it wasn't just like out of nowhere. And so I thought that was actually a really a pretty cool piece of analysis that you had.
I appreciate that.
But I do appreciate you guys and your love for the industry. I think that's amazing. We're super appreciative. I know the industry is a little gritty and there's a lot of kind of competition out there. But I feel very fortunate to be in a position where we get to try to change the world. We get to try to change the aviation industry. There's a lot of great companies out here. I'm hopeful these companies can start working together more. ACHR announced first this big partnership with Beta and ACES. We're now doing this big deal with Wisk, and hopefully more companies can come together. We can work together. You guys help bring the industry together. Super thankful for that. And so I got to run, but thank you guys. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Thank you so much, Adam. And we appreciate everything you do. Just keep pushing forward. We're backing you to the hills. And yeah, good luck in the earnings call.
Thanks, Have a great earnings, Adam. Thank you for everything. Great seeing you.
What about that, guys? What about that?
I hope the special guest was worth hanging in there for, guys. We did, we try to deliver what we can on what we say we can. And being honest, we didn't even know who the special guest was coming in per se, but we knew it was going to be somebody special. And, sometimes in the moment, it's kind of amazing what comes to fruition. So now that he's off the screen, again, just want to really thank Adam for taking that time to come onto the show. And I think what it shows is Adam's not oblivious to what we're researching, what we're talking about, what the investing community is looking at and looking for. And to me, again, that's a CEO that I've been riding with and I can back, because to me, this isn't all about Adam. This is about a transformation of aviation. This is about an investor community. And like he said, it's been gritty. It's been one that's hard to stomach and go through sometimes. But when you look at everything that ACHR Aviation has done, and just like he said, bringing these companies together. I mean, again, let's highlight bringing these companies together, the ecosystem of eVTOL, where again, we're not thinking this just, we have to be Camp Beta, Camp ACHR, Camp Joby, where really the success of UAM comes when these companies are all together. And I'm going to be repetitive and redundant and say that one of the first things I saw when I was deep diving this industry was the Wisk CEO, the ACHR and Joby CEO all on stage together. And we recently got to see Kyle, Joe Ben, and Adam minimally on stage together, I think out in Farnborough, talking as well. So I mean, when you see the movements forward with ACES, which I hope to learn more about on this call as well, and maybe we'll get to learn a little bit more on Goat's question and get to hear that on the earnings call as well. Again, just thank you, Adam. Thank you for taking that time to tap into the retail community and show him some love in the chat, just so he knows that appreciation too, if you don't mind.
Guys, I told you, Adam is just a gentleman. He will come on. That was not scripted. We didn't know who was coming on, I had a pretty good idea what was happening. We did get a message from ACHR early on. So I want to thank Adam. I want to thank everyone at ACHR. Look, we told you guys, eventually we will start speaking to everyone in the eVTOL space. Adam is the first of the big two to come on to a retail platform and speak directly with you. So thank you so much. We're hoping to speak to Adam very, very soon. Make sure you're subscribed to the Hustle Brothers, completely free. No ads. Didn't I tell you? No ads. We could have, if we want to pump this, I could have just got revenue through the roof there because everyone started jumping in. But before we get too carried away, we do have an earnings call to cover, guys.
That's true. Let's jump in. All right, let's jump to it.
I couldn't believe that. As I'm talking about the earnings, the CEO walks in.
As soon as I saw the Adam label on there, I was just like, guys, what are we going to talk about?
Well, and that's the thing too, really quick, a lot of time when you're talking with CEOs and stuff, the marketing teams, and we won't harp on this much because we'll get into the earnings call. They want scripted questions sent over. They want the questions reviewed. They want to know what people are going to ask. And they didn't ask for any of that. So I'm not gonna lie, did I think Adam was coming on today? No, I figured he would want to know what we were gonna ask him. He didn't, because he wanted to come and show that love to that retail community. So Liam, on that, I'll kick it to you. Any thoughts, or if you want to keep going through the deck?
Yeah, all I want to say is, guys, there's so many questions all of you guys have for the whole industry, whether it's Adam, whether it's Joe, Ben, anyone. So jump into any of our videos, the comments, and say, would you be able to ask Adam this? I'll compile a big list and we can email it and see if we can get you guys answers. I just want to show that we're authentic, guys. I want to show that we're here for the community. And yeah, no matter what anyone says, we're here to stay. And yeah, let's just dominate. So anyway, strong liquidity with Q2 ending. They now have 1.6 billion of cash and cash equivalents. That's actually a lot better than I thought it would be. Dear shareholders, we had it from the man himself there, but dear shareholders, today we announced that we have entered into agreements to acquire Wisk Aero, In Situ, and Skygrid, three highly innovative Boeing-owned companies, in exchange for Boeing taking a strategic equity stake in ACHR. We anticipate closing the transaction by the end of the year. The transaction will help accelerate our evolution into becoming a diversified aerospace and defense platform. After closing, our product portfolio will span piloted air taxi unmanned aircraft systems in Group 2 through 5, purpose-built AI for aviation, and vertical technology stack for autonomous flight. Let me walk you through the transaction rationale in more detail. ACHR got its start by standing up a world-class team to find the most efficient path to commercializing the air taxi industry. That will always be core to our mission, and Midnight is well on its way to achieving that. We went from an unknown in 2018 to today leading the air taxi industry in certification progress with the FAA. As I've talked through the last 18 months, defense is becoming an increasingly large near-term market for autonomous eVTOL. Last month, with our partner Anduril, we revealed our Group 5 Halo Thunder platform, a clean sheet autonomous hybrid electric VTOL aircraft for both commercial and defense. Thunder, Anduril's missionized defense version of Halo, aims to serve as a loyal wingman for reconnaissance attack helicopters like the Apache, targeting multi-decade programs of record across allied forces. It becomes increasingly clear that the combined market for this Group 5 platform is massive, and in the addition to the revenue, deploying nascent tech early in defense can deliver value across ACHR's entire business, with benefits like autonomy and lower costs flowing back into the air taxi products. Over the past year, we have been assembling a focused team on Halo and Thunder to build the autonomy, flight controls, sensor integration, and flight test capabilities. Wisk will help us round out this team. We're requiring Wisk to accelerate the Halo Thunder platform, which I believe will be a generational vertical lift platform. Wisk has developed some of the most advanced autonomy, flight controls, and sensor technologies in the industry. We plan to deploy the technology on Halo first, so that we can harden it and then bring it to the air taxi platform when the FAA is ready to certify autonomy for passenger air taxis. I am confident that our planned acquisition of Wisk can accelerate Halo Thunder research and development at a fraction of the time it would take us to achieve the same results organically. As part of this transaction, we are set to acquire In Situ, one of the most trusted and reputable intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance drone manufacturers, operate in profitability with over 200 million in annual revenue across 35 countries. In Situ, which has manufactured over 4,000 Group 2 and Group 3 UAS to date, will give ACHR an immediate sizable revenue base to grow in the near term. Its fleet is nearly 2 million autonomous flight hours, building one of the largest data assets of its kind, key to our autonomy development. This transaction with Boeing would not have been possible without the relationship we have cultivated with Boeing over the last couple of years. Boeing is synonymous with American aviation and our deal structure demonstrates how leaned in they are for a future together, taking all stock with a lockup, planned collaboration with us across many fronts, and committed to future equity investment in ACHR. A core value proposition for us, both in the opportunity to jointly drive innovation in aerospace, defense, and autonomy, and deliver long-term value for shareholders. I want to thank Kelly Ortberg and the Boeing leadership for their trust and belief in ACHR as the long-term partner. Last quarter, I called ACHR a dual threat company that we are commercializing both the air taxi and dual-use autonomous VTOL aircraft platform. Over the last couple of months, we shared more on our strategy for purpose-built AI for aerospace and defense. We introduced Z, the world's leading aviation-specific foundation model, a unified intelligence platform built on ADS-B, ATC communication, maps and charts, aircraft movements, terrain, and weather data designed to run on device across environments from air taxi and UAS to commercial airlines and air traffic management. And just last week, we announced that the model delivered a frontier breakthrough in aviation safety, highly accurate real-time airport service trajectory prediction. To safely adapt this technology into aviation ecosystems, our teams are working with the government agencies and customers to rigorously validate Z in the real world. In fact, we have already begun testing Z at Hawthorne Airport, our future LA air taxi hub. SkyGrid is highly complementary to Z, as it's been developing next-generation airspace management solutions since 2018. That tech is in use today, and I believe SkyGrid plus Z can become a must-have air traffic management product that helps modernize airspace around the world. I see a clear path to significant AI revenue, and the team is heads down building towards that. I am confident that the other side of this transaction with Boeing is a stronger ACHR with a groundbreaking end-to-end physical AI platform for aerospace and defense. I've tasked my team with integrating these companies to do so in a thoughtful and synergistic way that will not structurally increase our overall cash burn. That is, so one increase to cash burn. Through it all, commercial midnight program continues to accelerate and remain a top priority at ACHR. Recently, we flew our first intercity flights in California, and over the past few months, we plan to begin flying the Los Angeles area based out of Hawthorne Airport, and subsequently commence operations under the White House EIPP in Texas. Beyond flight, our team has also been hard at work in the infrastructure front. This quarter, we jointly launched an infrastructure first consortium with Beta and Macquarie to scale infrastructure across the US and unify a single approach for OEMs and vertiport developers. I'm proud to do that arm in arm with Kyle and the team at Beta. I'm telling you, Beta are just a juggernaut too. I started ACHR to change the way the world moves. Nearly a decade in, I've never been more confident or all in. Adam.
That's right.
Guys,
Texas.
What are we thinking? What are we feeling?
Texas. That's where eVTOLs are starting. Joby's going there first, now ACHR. It was obvious that's what we all thought, and Texas is going to be the start of the eVTOL sector, eVTOL flights. Wow.
Well, I think it shows again the symbiotic relationship that, maybe some would have put Adam on the other side of either wanting to have, within 6 months or a year ago. And I don't think that that's true. Again, he's coming out. He's talking that this is a UAM. And again, combining in Wisk, Beta, ACHR Aviation also in that fold. Again, and the way that he's speaking of the confidence going into this is that, a lot of past letters in this sector have always been about, timelines of commercial operations and commercial operation starts. And this is a shareholder letter about a multifaceted business that has had the foundational blocks put in, and it's time to grow off of them. And he seems very confident. And again, I think even him coming on just shows a confidence in the presence that, he is is very proud of the work that he is doing, and also proud that the community is taking notice of all the work that's going on there too. So far, banger of a letter.
Guys, 71 of you have liked the stream. Let's get that over 100. We got Adam on the stream. We want Adam back. Let's get over 100.
There you go.
Building the physical AI future for aerospace and defense. So there we go. Going across Wisk, autonomy, technology, and top talent to accelerate our aircraft programs. 6 generations of aircraft over nearly 20 years. End-to-end flight autonomy stack designed to achieve the highest commercial aviation safety standards. 1,700 plus hours of autonomous test flights across 6 aircraft generations since its 2010 founding by Larry Page. Critical enabling technology, so multi-sensor detect and avoid sway, precision landing technology, and in-house simulation solution with advanced software verification and validation capabilities. Synergies from 12 to 6 aircraft design with focus on vertical integration in avionics, flight controls, and structures, and leading IP portfolio, 700 plus patent assets in key areas.
There you go.
Going into in situ, we have one of the most trusted and reputable ISR drone companies in the industry. Pioneer in the design, development, production, and operation of high-performance, cost-effective, tactical Group 2 to 3 uncrewed aircraft systems. They have 200 million plus annualized revenue and profitable with customers across 35 countries. Nearly 2 million uncrewed flight hours across 175,000 plus flights in active combat zones, shipboard maritime missions, and harsh environment operations. 4,100 aircraft produced with 500 plus active patents. Product portfolio spans 2 leading UAS platforms. So we have Scan Eagle, long endurance Group 2 tactical ISR, small footprint workhorse with 18 plus hours of flight time and up to 17 pounds of AI-enabled payloads. And then they have Integrator. Do you know what? I'm reading too much. Expeditionary multi-payload Group 3 ISR built for US Navy and Marine Corps. Can fly up to 27.5 hours with 2,000 NMI range and up to 50 pounds of payload across 10 bays. And then we have SkyGrid.
Yes, sir.
SkyGrid is next generation aerospace management solution, highly complementary to ACHR's Z. AI solution enabling safe integration of autonomous aircraft into shared airspace via next generation technology. It fuses critical data sets to form a high fidelity digital model of the airspace for air traffic controllers. Delivers advanced automation and decision support tools with flight plan validation plus automated traffic surveillance, synchronization, deconfliction, and rerouting. High assurance technology backed by robust safety cases, cybersecurity controls, and rigorous engineering. And then spatial pathfinding algorithms have calculated collision-free trajectories for 10,000 plus simulation aircraft in large metropolitan area simulation. So another highlight from the quarter, they did unveil Halo and Thunder, which is ACHR's dual-use autonomous hybrid VTOL platform with Anduril. In July, ACHR and Anduril unveiled their jointly developed autonomous hybrid VTOL aircraft platform at Farnborough International Airshow, introduced as Thunder for defense missions and Halo for commercial applications. The 2 variants share the same airframe, hybrid powertrain, and core systems with configurable payload depending on mission requirements. They announced Z. ACHR announced Z, its AI foundation model, purpose-built for aviation, delivering a unified aviation intelligence platform built on ADS-B and ATC communication, map and charts, aircraft state and terrain and weather data. The foundation model is designed to work both offline, on device, and as a server-hosted solution, critical for use in a wide range of aviation environments, from air taxi and UAS to commercial airliners and air traffic management. And then they completed the city-to-city midnight flight, and Dylan got that straight off the cuff as it happened. So, in July, ACHR's Midnight aircraft completed a piloted round-trip journey between Salinas Municipal Airport and Monterey Regional Airport, which each leg completed in approximately 9 minutes compared to over 35 minutes by car. The flight was executed in close coordination with the FAA and marks a critical step towards ACHR launching midnight operations later this year under the IPP. So they're still backing that this year. So looking behind the scenes, we have Halo there. You're looking at Thunder there.
Nice.
And then we get a beautiful look at Halo.
Some of that don't look amazing.
And then we have the man himself.
That guy looks familiar.
You know what's crazy?
That guy looks familiar right there in the middle.
You know what's crazy, Liam? It's like you go down the shareholder letter and you get all of this information, and then you get to a page that says other highlights from this quarter. And it's like, you would think it'd be like, hired some employees that, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, the other highlights from this quarter, unveiling of Halo and Thunder, announcing Z, the AI Foundational, completed city to city. So it's like, there's so much going in ACHR Aviation. It's like we can sit there with Adam and there's so much to talk and ask with him about. It's like, do you lean into Z and what's going on with that foundational model? Do you ask about N704AX, Halo, Thunder? It's just amazing, the business that Adam has put together here at ACHR, and to see these buildings, see these aircraft take shape. I think we're really in store for a really exciting Q2 call coming up with Adam and the team. So really excited to hear from Tom as well. But that was awesome. That was a great shareholder letter.
I absolutely loved it. What have we got there? We have Z, and then a few forward-looking statements of the letter.
And I'll say the one question and sorry, Liam, I want you to jump in, but the one question I always forget to ask Adam when we get the chance to speak with him is just, where is the direct connection between ACHR and Palantir? You know, has the card been played yet? Has it been played with Z? But again, you know, I want to appreciate that Adam comes on, you know, right before an earnings call, like literally before he's about to go and tell us what's going on with this company. So, you know, it's like, I'll be honest, complete off guard by who was coming in, but also wanted to give him the chance to basically, you know, it's kind of like, you know, some things are okay to kind of answer kind of pre-earnings call, you know, not checking with legal team, not having scripted questions come by. And I think he knocked it out of the box and being able to fill us in on all information that he could. And, you know, it gets to that point where it's like, I want to sit there and congratulate him on the point-to-point flight, but he's had so much other stuff going on. It's like, it's not to be forgot about, but it's like, oh yeah. And by the way, congratulations, man. You did a point-to-point flight, which again, how many people were saying was not going to get done, you know? And we can go over CTOL versus VTOL, but I think, again, we go back a year in time. There's been a reason that ACHR went down testing out a CTOL regime. So for anybody worried about VTOL versus CTOL, I think again you got to look at the CEO of the company and the CTO of the company and look at their vision. Maybe not what always our vision of this company is, but like let's look at what their vision is. And coming into August of 2026, entering the second half of the year. Again, Adam said on the last call that they were going to have multiple aircrafts flying daily. Even today on his earnings call, the date 703 and 704AX, both in the air. So great job. Great job, ACHR.
Guys, keep smashing that like button. We just had Adam Goldstein live with us. Can't believe it. Guys, I can jump back into some of the comments there. Look, I can go through the financials, but I think what we'll do a video after actually breaking down the balance sheet, because if not, it'll just get very monotonous, and you'll be
Plus
hearing
we're
it
running out
again
of time
on
before the
the
call
earnings
anyways.
call.
Yeah, because I'd love to hear what the chat has to say. You know, this is all for you guys too. So let's, and like Liam said, we'll compile some good questions. We'll get them over to Archer and Amelia, and make sure we'll be back and we deliver the best answers that we can for you guys. Wild Saddle, I see you in here. Big shout out.
So, whoa, Adam himself, #respect. I seen Randy did send him a message saying would he join our stream. Whoa, great job, guys. Where's my jacket? What crazy,
big shout out,
go.
Randy.
Everyone was going absolutely wild in the chat. What else have we here? Skyguard has few potential. I'm confused, but okay.
Me too, buddy.
Hi, Adam. Everyone was saying, go ask him if he expects more Omen orders and when we will see revenue. Yeah, guys, jump into any of our videos and we'll compile a list to send to Adam. We'll try and get him back on for a longer interview. As we all know, he has a lot on his plate. So for him to come on to a retail platform where he didn't know what we were going to ask. And I want to give a big shout out to the community. Everyone was respectful there. No one tried to act the idiot in there. So I want to thank every single one of you. You made this happen. And look, without you, it wouldn't happen for us. So I want to thank you. Pretty incredible, fellas. Well done.
Double down.
Nice, long time in the making. Yeah. Do you know what? You guys are truly number one. Thank you so much, my guy.
I appreciate you.
For the like. Yeah, guys, keep smashing that like button. Look, this is not the end. We're still doing a giveaway at the end.
That's right.
Will I actually reach out to see will they help us get more merch out to people? I might do that. We'll see if we can get it by the end of the stream, guys. Just keep smashing that like button, keep smashing that subscribe button. As Adam said, together, we're bringing the industry together. We don't want any of this bickering. That's what we've said as the Hustle Brothers. We want to collaborate in this industry. We don't want, I don't know, this company's better, that company's better. If one company's better, that company's useless. No, we want everyone to do well. Congrats. What made him join? I don't know. I put up earlier on, I put up that we're doing the earnings and Archer reached out.
And I want a big shout out to Randy, and not to just single him out, but to give credit and compliment, because these are things like, as the community grows, this is what we're here to grow and build and provide for you, tapping into the CEOs, the CTOs, and bringing these interviews, not just surprisingly before an earnings call, but hopefully some more that are recorded down the line too, so I think, again, just huge credit that could just coming on live. But a big shout out to Randy, because on X, there's been a time or two that I've seen, so just not to discredit if there's been more, but where you've literally been like, hey, like, come on the Hustle Brothers channel, and like, from the bottom of my heart, just to see that sort of love go out and to come back around. I'm really glad that, we all, I think as a community, we made this come to fruition, and we've been talking for a while that we're going to get Adam on the show. And I think, again, great job, Liam, great job, Goat, but great job, community. Like, absolutely. That's the love, that's the support that Adam is looking for. And again, it could be corny, but I'm gonna stick with my team, hashtag Team eVTOL, as we push through this. And again, I want to see every eVTOL investor succeed and get to their end goal. So let's keep moving forward in this space.
Joey says, been here a long time, multiple earnings with you. What did I miss? Adam Goldstein joined us for an interview just as we were going through the earnings. Couldn't believe it. Completely unexpected on all fronts. So yeah, guys, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on this journey. Look, I started this whole I had to answer a question there actually quickly. Are we listening to the call live too? Yes, we are, my guy. The call will be starting it'll be 10 p.m. my time, but it'll be starting in 20 minutes. Yeah. I started this journey in my kitchen. Just talking about the eVTOL space. No one was talking about the eVTOL space back then. And yeah, it came to this. Can't believe it. Enough said. You've heard the story before. I won't get back onto it. Archer has even hybrid models for longer range. And building a foundation. Sure is. And it's going to keep growing, my guy. Are you doing the beta earnings call? When is the beta earnings call? I can do the beta earnings call.
Wednesday morning.
Yeah, I can do that. No problem.
Yep.
Can you guys tell us more about that clip that Adam saw about you guys analyzing first time to first VTOL, and what was that about?
He was talking
do you want to get that up? Go.
Yeah, basically what he was saying was, we pointed out that, gosh, I'm just going to blank. I can't think right now. I just talked to Adam Goldstein. Okay, I cannot think. We were talking about how the first VTOL test campaign for Archer Aviation took 12 months. That was with the Maker aircraft in 301AX. The second time they did it was with Mid-Zero, which was in 302AX. And that took 9 months. And I was just pointing out that we should expect somewhere between 6 and 7 months for the N704AX transition flight.
Then go up to 1,000.
Oh,
thank you. Are you doing beta earnings call? Yes, we will do. Wasn't the Palantir collaboration for organizing the flight data and creating an automated program for air flight controllers, AI ground control? Do you know what? I think what we got to do, we got to create a video where we put the puzzle pieces together on the whole AI integrated model, because we are starting to get a lot of like conflicting information, not on Archer's part, but in our own heads. We're like, right, if you have NVIDIA IGX4, if you have Palantir, if you have Skygrid, if you have Z, where does it all fit in? We will tie it all together. So keep an eye out for that, guys. Rapid fire this last month or more, been saying had to wait for Andrew collaboration and Olympics to 2028. If you can't wait, this sector isn't for you. Very exciting though.
Yeah, it's true.
That's right.
Randy gives some love. Namisha giving the love there. Love it. Guys, do you know what to do? The bottom right corner, if you've already hit the like button, keep smashing them reactions. It gets us out to more people. Therefore, more people will be listening to Archer Aviation Earnings, potentially get more investors in here, and we're all happy. So yes, just a little Archer and Boeing hint. Don't forget Virgin Airlines. Virgin Airlines is with Joby, my guy. Joby and ASI already won the AI competition from the FAA. ASI won it.
Yeah,
Joby is a partner in that, and we heard an awful lot more about that.
More of a, it does everything that the ASI flywheel claims to do, but it's also a companion to that. So you'll have the flywheel in most aircraft. You're also going to have Z when you want Z, and it's just going to do a little bit more, a little bit extra. So that's it's kind of the same thing, but it's the same thing, but with an extra layer on top.
well, like you said, it's like layering foundation models on top of each other. And, you know, like if you've been following Palantir for a while, you've seen how ontology is really the kind of base layer in which everything's been able to grow there. So again, ASI, you know, when you look at them, you know, they're looking to model out the 4D landscape of the skies. But there's a lot going in the skies that isn't only controlled by the ASI 40% share of the basically the airspace. So it's one of those things where, again, I was talking with Liam prior, where when we look at the companies, even like DoorDash, who are starting to go out with a drone delivery system, and then you have like the class 3 drones and stuff like that. The more drones and the unmanned aerial service vehicles, or whichever kind of use case they're being used for, it seems to me that there's going to be a integrated flight model that these will most likely have to work and operate on. So again, as we look to multiply, put a heavy multiplier on the amount of unmanned vehicles or unmanned drones, and even in the delivery sectors that we'll be bringing, they're gonna have to have something that's in there talking with each other. And again, Z, both with being that AI foundational model for predictions within the airspace, also working that in as basically like a co-pilot operation assistance system as well. So there's a lot going on, and I wouldn't be surprised, again, as ASI continues to work through building out the 4D of the sky. I wouldn't be surprised if they run into anything that they'll look to, again, grab more information as Boeing, I would see them reaching out to Boeing, honestly, and maybe taking a look at the trajectory of what Wisk has done. And again, as we know of today, the pieces of the puzzle are being put in the line for Archer Aviation to now acquire that IP, as well as the Aviation and Wisk and all of those flight hours and flight data. So it's a big win.
This made me laugh. Getting Adam on 30 seconds after closing bell. Not bad for three guys who just wear hats. Yeah.
Hey, all right. I know I left my hat off today.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Do you know what? The guy that said we know nothing about eVTOLs and this, that, and the other, and we claim to be this, that, and the other. Yeah, we got Adam on 30 seconds after closing bell. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
There you go.
There you go.
X-100 aircraft waiting to be delivered. Countries are waiting for Archer. I agree. Has Archer conducted a VTOL flight? They've conducted multiple VTOL flights. Go actually gave the most recent VTOL flight earlier on up to 500 feet.
I'll bring it back up.
My guy. Can Goat turn the mic up a tad? I think you've...
Yeah, I did it. Yeah. Thank you for letting me know.
ASI's contract is for 100% of FAA airspace, not 40%. It covers the entire...
Yep. No, I got you there, Whisper. So in that, what it is at the current time, ASI, basically their flight systems control at this time on average about 40% of all the airspace. So I am not saying your comment is wrong, but just to kind of back up to what I was saying, in the current way that ASI operates, they're currently running about on average 40% of the airspace. So yes, you are correct. Now to remember, Patreon is really the project manager over the modernization of the airspace. ASI has been brought in to, again, bring in that 4D landscape. And just like you say, Electric Whisper, to, yes, have that route out to conforming FAA and to get that done as well. So yeah, not to mince up what I said. So no, you're on point with that. And just that kind of accumulation of what the higher altitude FAA maps and layout is. And then again, as we start to scale down into lower class of airspace and building out those 4D models, which again, correct, that ASI was awarded that contract. And I foresee them doing very good things and building out that 4D landscape as well.
Guys, there's going to be zero ads, zero interruptions, only at the Hustle Brothers. These will have no ads playing throughout the earnings. So make sure you're banging that subscribe button, banging that like button. We're not at 100 likes yet. Make sure to get us over 100 and we will run a free giveaway. Dylan gave away Joby Aviation merch on the Joby Aviation earnings. We've just had Adam on there speaking with us. Do you want some merch or aviation merch? Make sure to stick around to the end. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and stay active in the chat. More active you are,
right.
More likely you are to be selected.
And just as a big shout out to the ones that won the Joby, it is in the mail, hopefully arriving soon. And not like of any big thing, but just to know, at this current time, we are not flooded with merch from these companies. There's no payroll that we're on or anything like that. So again, I hope everybody that receives their gift really knows that it came from my heart. It is official Joby merchandise that was sent to me. So again, as much merch that gets sent to us, we're going to look to turn that around and fulfill the community with that. So much appreciation to any of the companies that send that merch over so we can bless you guys out with that as well.
Big up, Bag of Holding. Already posted the Adam
Oh
clip
my
right
gosh.
after it happened and linked the call. Thank you so much, Bag. We need to
Thank
get
you,
some merch
Bag.
out of Bag as well.
Love you, Bag.
Any updates on the transition flight? I've seen a few of you guys went for or were asking about the transition flight. Look, I'm not expecting any updates for transition flight. As long as we don't get an update that it's not happening by the end of the year. I'm still going with it's happening second quarter of the year, so I wouldn't have expected
We're
it
very
to
unlikely to hear
in
that there was a
Q2.
transition flight. It's not going to happen.
Well, not just
Oh my God, here we go. Big
Oh.
shout out to King Durf, became a YouTube
Oh,
member.
man.
Do you know what? I
What's
promised
up,
him
King?
for this stream. I said, any super chats, any members. Dylan's currently on vacation, and we all know his son there. So anything that gets raised during this will go to his son, and he's going to take a few pictures for me, and we might blur out his face in it. But, whatever he spends it on, he spends it on. So I'm telling you, King Durf, thank you so much. That's going for
Bless you, King.
Dylan's son's vacation. Thank
Bless
you
you,
so
King.
much, my guy.
I'll tell you,
Then-
I'm excited, man. Yeah, fire the next one up, but I'll tell you, I'm excited. We got just under 10 minutes to go until we rehear from the man himself.
Here we go,
know?
another
So,
one. Do you know what? Dylan's son's going to have a field day.
Hey, happy
Big
meals
shout
all
out,
around.
my guy. Thank you so much. Big respect there.
Yeah, much respect, much respect. And again, with that puts a lot on my shoulders to keep bringing you the best DD, the best content. So I just want to say thank you for believing in us as a channel and supporting us. And that, I know that just fires me and Liam up, that we're just going to keep coming back and being the best we can every day. And we're going to get everything rolling so that when we get to the Q3 call, you know that you're going to be as most up to date as possible. But no, everybody, much love, and thank you all for being here. It's very cool to celebrate this with you guys.
Madan, you guys are great and very informative. Guys, make sure you're not
Thank
only
you.
subscribed to the Hustle Brothers, but both to Stock Dylan and the GOAT Games. You
Thank
get
sir.
all types of eVTOL coming out, all types of eVTOL content coming out from all three of us. Great live bros with the caps. Thank you so
I
much.
love it. I love it.
I feel like that's
that-
now going to be our saying, isn't it?
You know, I was just about to say, I was like, I feel, and again, non-financial advice, but I feel like, you know, the industry and the sector is about to take off when you start getting these inside jokes within the community, you know, and those, again, this is how we know, like the day ones, you know, 3 years from now, when we're all talking about hats or wearing hats, it's like everybody will know this was back from Q2 26, and we were all here to experience together, and that's what is this beautiful, harmonious thing about it. And I say it really honestly from the bottom of my heart that it's just really so cool to share this with you guys. And again, if you got any of those last minute thoughts and last minute comments before we jump into the call, what you're expecting, what's going to make you bullish, what would make you bearish. You know, I know there's a lot of talk about the transition. And, you know, I think for me with the transition, I think probably hearing from Tom, most likely, but hearing that it's still in line for transition on the second half of the year. And again, keeping in mind that we're at August, and I'll say that the progression personally for me that I've seen from 704AX from June to August, just kind of I guess July 1 through August. So, I mean, we've literally been, 35, 40 days to the second half of the year. And we have not only had 704AX, because we were always tracking it on ADSB and telemetry, you know, we weren't able to get that flight aware. And I believe it was, I got it on my spreadsheet. It wasn't August 5th. I think the 15th, they did some other stuff, but I'll check it back. But it was amazing to see the 704AX was able to at least have enough data that was able to be caught on flight aware. So we're going to keep tracking it. We're going to keep you updated. And I think it's one of those Rubik's Cube questions of, is the Hustle Brothers going to find out transition before Archer Aviation releases the information? Because we're on top of it. We're always checking. We're always refreshing. But is Archer going to shut off the ADSBs that day just so they can do it without the Hustle Brothers finding it first? I don't know, but they still might have to keep them on for FAA reasons. So
I just realized that my mic wasn't turned on for that whole thing.
Well, then you tell us what's on your brain, Liam. What you got?
My mic, I've switched mic.
I muted mine too because I'm trying to listen for the call.
Yeah, I should have had this mic playing. Sorry, guys.
You did.
Right. you guys just had a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company on. Let that sink in. I can't believe it.
I'm trying.
That's crazy, dude.
I'm working on it, Seti. I'm working on it.
You
But
know
I
what?
appreciate it. That's the truth, man. That's the truth.
I'm
It's a
happy
part of
we
the
didn't
journey.
find out till today, yeah, because if I found that out last night, I wouldn't have been able to sleep, my guy.
Oh
You know,
no way.
and again, it's having prepared questions versus off of the top. So again, when you don't know who's coming in, it's like, do you get a question prepared to ask Tom? Are we going to ask one of the chief marketing executives? And then you see in that box that it's AG, and it's like, well, I'm going to let him talk until I need to ask a question. Oh, I get to ask a question to AG too. Let's see what we can do the best for the community. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed his stop in, and like Liam said, we're going to keep beating the door down to see if we can get him on for some recorded.
Then let's hope for the same impact as Joby's call. I'm expecting quite a nice run. Look, we are down 1.4%. Oh no, we're pretty flat. Just how Joby was. I'm expecting a pretty exciting call. I can't even lie. I want to do something for you first of all. Can you hear the music? It's quite quiet, but can you hear it?
No, I can't hear it.
You can't hear it.
No.
Hear it there?
Let's see. Coming back in.
Mm-mm.
Tell you, when you're heavily allocated in Archer, a nice pump in the day definitely helps the year to date. So hopefully everybody's year to dates are doing a little bit better after today. And it'll be interesting because, again, with Joby, it's almost like it just sat there and consolidated. I was actually thinking it would sell off the next day after the call. So, kind of one of those rhetorical questions as money can kind of rotate and be relative to what it is. But, would it be one where you'd rather see the pump during the earnings call and then a market sell off in the morning? Or would you be able to go to bed tonight feeling good that you got your market pump earlier in the day? It did sell off a little bit because, again, we know the market is going to go up. It will go, it will sell off a little bit. I mean, that's a big pump in the day for any company to have. So profit taking is allowed. And, going into tomorrow, I can't say that there won't be a 10% drop, but I also can't say that we couldn't get some 10% love. And again, it's early in the week, so I don't know if there'll be complete kind of options, foolery kind of going in, depressing any of the stock price. So let's see what Archer can do kind of on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week and see kind of how they. Yeah. Yep.
You can, yeah.
And in the chat, I can, yeah. So in the chat, though, if you can hear the background for the earnings call, definitely let us know so we can share that out with everybody, too, because we are about 2.5 minutes away from, I feel like what we say every quarter, but I think it's true, the most important earnings call in the eVTOL industry yet. And we're only minutes away.
Dax, my guy, I think you found out by now. But, we had Adam Goldstein earlier on in the chat, about 30 seconds after closing bell, he was on. Were you here? Yes. All the guys hear the music. Awesome. I'm loving it. Guys, we are one person away from 5,200 subs. Be that last person. Bang that subscribe button. Go has just said he's willing to give away a Archer to $100 hat in a giveaway.
Right. There you go.
Right there.
So, I'm going to reach out to Archer, see if we can get some merch for you guys. We'll give away an Archer to 100 hat. We might give away a few memberships. And you two guys that have joined the membership, thank you so much. That is going directly to Dylan's son to enjoy his vacation because I love it. James says, Archer, guys, congrats. See the guys watching the stream. Thank you so much. Just peeked over to the hat guy. Not even half. I knew that wouldn't happen. I knew that wouldn't happen. We've been dominating that fella for a long time. And when do you know what? When he told me that we don't speak to anyone in the industry, that just got my back up. So there you go. Let him respond to that. Yeah.
There you go. I like that.
1 minute away.
I love that energy. And I love how this keeps building.
Mm-hmm.
Big shot. Gifted 5 memberships. 5 memberships of Hustle Brothers. Thank you so much, my guy. I cannot tell you Do you know what we're going to do there?
That's
We're
lit.
also going to, and I hope Dylan don't mind, but some of that revenue is going to go
Yeah.
to Goat Son as well.
Go for
Let's
it.
Okay.
spread the love. Both Dylan's son and Goat's son. This is what we do it for. We do it for family. This is what this whole thing is all about. So both Dylan and Goat's son is going to enjoy the revenue there.
Well, thank you so much.
Whatever your son spends it on, Goat, we're not going to put your son out on YouTube, but maybe take a picture of what he spends it on or
Yeah, I got
whatever.
you.
And
We'll make a video about it.
yeah, we can share it out. Guys, we're getting close here.
That's right.
This is the best day. This is the best day. I love it, my guys.
It really is. That's amazing.
Smash that like button. Family. Do you know what?
That's right.
You are part of that family, my guy.
Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Maddie. That's super kind. Super kind. It's great to be here with y'all.
Here we go.
Hey, there you go, James.
Let's listen to our man. There's no sound yet. There will
Hello,
be
everyone.
There we
Thank
go.
you for joining us and welcome to the ACHR Aviation second quarter financial results conference call. After today's prepared remarks, we will host a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question, please press *1 to raise your hand. To withdraw your question, press *1 again. I will now hand the conference over to Kate Kuehl, Head of Investor Relations. Please go ahead.
Welcome to ACHR's earnings call. This is Kate Kuehl, ACHR's Head of Investor Relations. Today, we will be making forward-looking statements that are based on current assumptions. We don't undertake any obligation to update those assumptions as a result of new information or future events. Risks and uncertainties may cause our actual results to differ materially from those contemplated by these statements. For more information about potential risks and uncertainties, review the risk factors in our SEC filings. Today, we will also be discussing both GAAP and non-GAAP financial measures. A reconciliation of those measures is included in our earnings release from today. Now, I'll turn it over to Adam. Adam?
Thanks, Kate. Today marks an important inflection point for ACHR, so let me spend some time walking you through the rationale for the exciting transaction we announced with Boeing earlier today. We entered into agreements to acquire 3 highly innovative Boeing-owned companies, Wisk Aero, In-Situ, and SkyGrid, in exchange for Boeing taking a strategic equity stake in ACHR. We anticipate closing the transaction by the end of the year. This partnership will help accelerate the evolution you've heard me talk about for a long time. ACHR is a diversified aerospace and defense platform with a physical AI product portfolio that will span air taxis, unmanned aircraft systems from Group 2 to Group 5, purpose-built AI for aviation, and the vertical technology stack for autonomous flight. Let me walk you through how we got here. I founded ACHR with one goal, finding the most efficient path to commercializing air taxis, and built a world-class team to do it. We remain incredibly focused on this goal as air taxi will always be core to our mission. And Midnight is well on its way. We went from an unknown in 2018 to the front of the pack on FAA certification today. Defense, as I've been saying for the last 18 months, is becoming one of the largest near-term markets for the VTOL industry. We first announced our partnership with Anduril at the end of 2024. Palmer Luckey, one of the founders, had come to me with a concept for an autonomous, dual-use loyal wingman for attack reconnaissance helicopters like Apache, and they chose ACHR's team to build it alongside them. Since then, our teams have been building this aircraft together. ACHR took all our learnings from years of eVTOL development, airframe design, rotors, powertrain, and actuation systems, knowledge from the Midnight program, and put it into something new, a clean sheet, autonomous, hybrid aircraft platform for both commercial and defense. Last month at Farnborough, we jointly revealed the Halo Thunder platform, and I'm confident it is revolutionary, not evolutionary. Unlike what many others are doing, this is a clean sheet, first principles approach targeting both commercial use cases, including logistics, humanitarian, medical, and maritime, as well as multi-decade defense programs of record with allied forces. This is why, for the past year, we've been assembling a world-class Halo Thunder team focused on developing this platform. With this transaction with Boeing, we can utilize Wisk's incredible talent to round out that team. Wisk traces back to Larry Page, who gave this industry its start nearly 20 years ago. And they're right down the road from us here in Silicon Valley. Their engineers have spent nearly 2 decades building some of the most advanced autonomy, flight control, and sensor technology in the industry, designed from the start for autonomous flight. The opportunity is clear to me. Deploy and harden the technology on Halo Thunder first, then fold it into future iterations of the air taxi when the FAA is ready to certify autonomy. I'm confident that our planned acquisition of Wisk can accelerate the Halo Thunder program at a fraction of the time it would have taken us to achieve the same results organically. As part of this transaction, we will also acquire In Situ, one of the most trusted and reputable intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance (ISR) drone manufacturers in the U.S. It is profitable today with over $200 million in annual revenue across 35 countries. They have built more than 4,000 Group 2 and 3 UAS to date. Those UAS have flown nearly 2 million flight hours autonomously, giving it one of the largest data sets of its kind. And that data will feed directly into our autonomy development. In Situ will give Archer an immediate, sizable revenue base to grow from. The key driver of this transaction was the relationship we've built with Boeing, especially former Wisk CEO, now VP of Product for Boeing Commercial, Brian Yudko. Boeing is synonymous with American-built aviation, and the deal structure shows how leaned in they are on our future together. All stock with a lockup, a collaboration across many new fronts, committed future equity investments in Archer, warrants at exercise prices far in excess of our current price. For both companies, the core of this deal is the opportunity to jointly drive innovation across aerospace, defense, and autonomy and deliver long-term value for shareholders. I want to thank Kelly Ortberg and the Boeing leadership for the trust and belief in Archer as the right long-term partner. Importantly, I've tasked my team with integrating these companies in a thoughtful, synergistic way that will not structurally increase our overall cash burn. The focus is clear. On the other side of this deal is a stronger Archer with an end-to-end physical AI platform for aerospace and defense. Last quarter, I called Archer a dual threat company, a nod to our air taxi and dual-use autonomous eVTOL aircraft program. This quarter, we shared more on the strategy for the third key pillar of our diversification approach, purpose-built AI for aerospace and defense. We introduced Z, the world's leading aviation-specific foundation model. Z is a unified intelligence platform built on ADSB, ATC communications, maps and charts, aircraft movements, terrain, and weather data. And just last week, we announced that Z has delivered a breakthrough in aviation safety, highly accurate real-time prediction of airport surface trajectories. To bring this technology safely into the aviation ecosystem, our teams are working with the government agencies and customers to rigorously validate Z in the real world. We couldn't be more excited to pair Z with SkyGrid, and we believe together those technologies can deliver a next-gen air traffic management product that can play a critical role in modernizing airspaces around the world. I see a clear path to significant AI revenue, and the team is heads down building toward it. Now let me circle back to Midnight. Through it all, air taxi remains a top priority, and the program made tremendous progress this quarter. This quarter, we flew multiple piloted aircraft on an almost daily basis across our fleet, and oftentimes those aircraft flew multiple times a day, in testing across piloted VTOL and CTOL flights, including our first intercity flights here in California. And over the next few months, you can expect us to begin flying in the LA area based out of the Hawthorne Airport, and subsequently commence operations under the White House's EIPP later this year in Texas. We also continued our industry-leading progress against our FAA certification program for Midnight. I believe we remain the only industry OEM to be out of policy and in the fourth and final phase of the FAA's type certification process with a fully accepted means of compliance. Notably, this quarter, the FAA approved our quality management system, which hardens our ability to perform FAA for-credit conformity findings across the aircraft, as well as its components and systems. We're actively working with the FAA on for-credit testing this year. On the infrastructure front, we co-launched ACES, the American Consortium for Electric Skyways, alongside Beta and Macquarie. It's an industry-first approach to deploy interoperable charging infrastructure across the US and align OEMs on a unified approach, which is critical for scale and to lower cost for consumers. I'm proud to take this on, arm in arm with Kyle and the team at Beta, and look forward to welcoming many others who want to join the mission. We are executing all of this from a continued position of financial strength with $1.6 billion in liquidity. I started Archer to change the way the world moves. Nearly a decade in, I've never been more confident or more all in. With that, I'll turn it over to Priya.
Thanks, Adam, and good afternoon, everyone. Building on Adam's remarks, the last few months, culminating with today's transaction announcement, are truly an inflection point for Archer. With the planned acquisitions of Wisk, In-Situ, and SkyGrid, coupled with our recent unveiling of Halo, Z, and ACES, we're rapidly advancing our diversified multi-platform strategy across air taxis, UAS, and AI to lead the next generation of aerospace and defense. We strongly believe we are uniquely positioned in the sector as we look ahead, both in terms of product portfolio breadth and depth, as well as both near-term and long-term revenue generation potential. In-Situ today is a profitable business, generating more than $200 million of revenue a year. That, in addition to our existing air taxi platform, our Halo Thunder platform, and aviation-focused AI solutions, will significantly change the profile for Archer and our path to meaningful revenue in the years to come. We're not just an air taxi company anymore. In parallel with our focus on growing our top line, we remain focused on managing our net cash burn. We expect the planned acquisition to bring meaningful synergies across all platforms, Midnight, Halo Thunder, and Z. We will remain disciplined about investment across each of our platforms. Let me share the framework we will use to maintain that discipline quarter over quarter. First, advancing Midnight to certification and scaled operations remains a top investment priority. We expect to generate near-term revenue through early operations, both in the US and internationally, and scale thereafter following certification. Second, for Halo Thunder, our Group 5 UAS platform with Anduril, we've already been investing in technology development over the past 24 months. And as Adam discussed, we're excited about the potential for the autonomy capabilities from Wisk to further accelerate that development timeline. We are focused on getting this platform to market as soon as possible, as it carries a total TAM greater than $100 billion in the decades ahead. Midnight and Halo development timelines, with their individual peaks and troughs, align well, allowing us to stay focused on efficiently and synergistically leveraging our engineering talent across air taxi and UAS platforms. Third, for Z and its product portfolio, our near-term goal is for our AI solutions to be revenue-generating and profitable as early as next year, with the potential for significant ramp in the back half of 2027 and beyond. Finally, we expect In-Situ to contribute positive free cash flow after closing, allowing the business to operate on a self-funding basis and potentially offset spend in other areas of our business if we are able to grow their business as we expect. Taken together, this framework gives me the confidence that we can grow the top line across our business while, post-acquisition close and through integration, keep cash burn relatively flat from where it stands today. Now let's switch gears to the results from the current quarter. I'm happy to report on very strong financial results for Archer. I'll focus on three key highlights. First, we continue to maintain a very healthy balance sheet with $1.6 billion in liquidity at the end of Q2. Second, we grew revenue to $5 million for Q2, which is a 213% increase over last quarter. This was driven by our growth in operations at the Hawthorne Airport in LA. Third, we met our spend guidance. Q2 adjusted EBITDA was a loss of $177 million, which is on the lower end of our guidance range of $170 to $200 million, and only a slight increase quarter over quarter. These results are an early indication of our ability to grow the business while staying measured in our use of cash. which is exactly what we must do in this next phase for Archer. For Q3, we estimate our adjusted EBITDA loss to stay within the same range of $170 to $200 million as we continue to mature the Midnight flight test program, including our operations under the EIPP, continue development of Halo, and advance our AI solutions. Looking ahead, in addition to these key priorities, our focus will be on closing the transaction with Boeing as soon as possible, with a target of end of year, and then integrating the business efficiently and effectively. It all comes back to the old adage: execution matters, and we are committed to delivering against the framework I laid out, maturing our diversified product base to fuel a growing top line, all while controlling spend. And with that, I will turn it back over to the operator.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. Please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. If you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 to raise your hand. To withdraw your question, press star 1 again. We ask that you pick up your handset when asking a question to allow for optimum sound quality. And if you're muted locally, please remember to unmute your device. Please stand by while we compile the Q&A roster. Your first question comes from the line of Savi Syth from Raymond James. Please go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Just with the announcement of Halo and Thunder, can you hear me?
That was on their side. That wasn't me.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. Could you, with Halo and Thunder platform versus the Midnight platform, I was wondering if you could kind of compare and contrast like some of the technical differences there, and kind of what it might mean kind of from a parts procurement, production scaling, as you work on those two kind of platforms in parallel, and just how much you can kind of share between the two.
Yeah, hey, Savi, this is Tom. Happy to answer that. The way to think about Halo and Thunder is this is a clean sheet, new platform targeted at a totally different mission than Midnight. So this new aircraft is targeted at flying heavier payloads much further, much faster than we can do with Midnight. And that's all around this different market that we see both in the defense side, where we're partnered with Anduril, on the civil side. And so in order to do that, though, we've been able to leverage a bunch of the core, I'll call them like technology building blocks that have been put together for Midnight. So those are things like our batteries, electric motors, etc. But then obviously the one new piece of technology is the hybrid system in this aircraft. So by going hybrid, that's how we're able to unlock the ability to travel much further, faster, more payload, etc. In terms of how we're executing on this, it's still early in the development of the Thunder Halo platform. Target is to be in the air next year, and then working towards customer deliveries in 2029 and kind of scaling, 2030 kind of from there. But progress has been tremendous so far. Interest has been fantastic. So really excited about it.
That's helpful, Tom. And just maybe with kind of the acquisitions announced today, I was wondering if you, and this is a broader question just beyond the Halo Thunder, just how do you envision kind of day 1 to day 365 kind of post-merger in kind of getting the engineering teams from kind of the different businesses to start kind of working together, and when you can start kind of realizing some of the synergies or some of the kind of the benefits in accelerating some of these developments?
Hey, Savi, this is Adam. So if there ever were two eVTOL companies that could come together, it would be Archer and Wisk. And the reason is we both built 12-tilt 6 architectures, but we approached it from a different perspective. So Archer focused on finding the most efficient path to commercialization, while Wisk focused on autonomy and advanced flight controls. And so there's really nice overlap, but there's also complementary aspects that make a lot of sense for these companies coming together. So there's going to be an exploratory period to figure that out. We see it as an incredible enhancement in capabilities. And so we're excited to dive in. And there's also a lot of capability overlap and synergies working with in situ as well. So Archer obviously has a lot of experience in VTOL products and new VTOL products. And so as we look at the ISR drone market, that is a large but growing significantly market. And so there's an opportunity to take a lot of our core technologies there and keep building for that market as well. So it's still early in a lot of this exploration, but that's just a general framework of how we're thinking about it.
Helpful, thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Andres Shepard from Cantor Fitzgerald. Please go ahead.
Hey everyone, congratulations on the quarter, and thanks for taking our questions. It was great to see everyone at the Farnborough Air Show last month. You know, Adam, lots to unpack here, and certainly a lot of great developments. You know, I guess it's clear that Archer no longer is an eVTOL company, but really an aerospace defense and advanced air mobility platform. So I guess my first question, maybe to build on the last question, is, you know, in terms of the synergies and overall structure for the company, what are the key synergies that investors should be aware of? How will you prioritize the eVTOL business with the drone business? And what are you most excited about today's announcement? Thank you.
Thanks, Andres. There's a lot of synergies here across the platforms, but there's also a really nice strategic rationale here, where you have the large market of civil passenger carrying aircraft that has an incredibly large TAM, but also, I would say, some difficulty predicting exactly how fast it will scale and exactly when it will scale. And so we're going through, obviously, the certification process, which is very rigorous, and we're doing very well at that. And so as we've looked at accelerating our path towards revenue, the defense side of the business becomes very attractive, as there are pathways to launch autonomous products in different airspace that are just much easier to get to market more quickly. And so if you think about sort of the portfolio strategy here, there's ability to generate revenue, generate cash flow, use that cash flow to help really get us to profitability much sooner and reduce our burn across the civil markets, which can allow the overall strategy to build much better products and build a much bigger company for the long term while minimizing the dilution. And so again, this is still early days in us, figuring out the exact strategy on how to deploy it. But I think that general framework is how we're thinking about it. And the enhanced capabilities we get from the Wisk platform and Situ platform and SkyGrid platform gives us a really nice go-to-market that we did not have before.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That's super helpful. Thanks, Adam, for all that color. Maybe just a quick follow-up, coming back to your recent unveil of your first dual-use aircraft jointly built with Anduril. Just help us understand, how are you thinking about commercialization of Thunder and Halo, and how might those be complementary to Midnight? Thank you.
Thanks, Andres. So we're building the core platform, the base platform, which we call Halo. And that will have all of the kind of basic functionality that aircraft needs to operate. We can then take that aircraft and give it to Anduril, which will ultimately missionize that aircraft. And so that's something that Archer is not doing. That's something that Anduril is going to be doing for the ultimate end defense products. There, of course, will be different programs of record that platform will go after on the Thunder side. But on the Halo side, there are customers that we will go after that have needs that have a similar use case without any of the defense capabilities. So think search and rescue or offshore energy, areas where you need to carry more payload, much longer distances than what the Midnight platform would be. So we've already announced an early customer, which is Marubeni, and there's been a ton of inbound, and we've had a lot of interest with existing customers we've been working with to find new solutions. So the goal will be to find ways to take that platform and build it as quickly as we can, but also really try to minimize the spend on that platform by leveraging a lot of the core capabilities that we've already built from the Midnight platform. So like another great example, is the flight control system, where we are leveraging a lot of the work that we had started with Midnight, but now we can also enhance with Boeing. So ultimately, the goal is a low-cost platform that can really scale significantly. And by having civil and defense capabilities, you get really both those benefits.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Congrats again. Exciting new times. We'll pass it on.
Thanks.
Your next question comes from the line of James Kirby from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Congrats on the transactions. Maybe just following up, asking a different way from the previous question. Where do you see in situ fitting into the longer term portfolio at Archer? And maybe just could you just speak to the extent you can on the revenue growth drivers in that business?
In the ISR world, the revenues that you see today are largely a result of the macro environment and the sales that happened from years ago. So when you look forward from here, it seems very clear that there will be an increased demand for ISR drones, not just overall, but even new capabilities. And so there is a broad set of new products that are being requested. And I think there is a huge market growth potential across the broader ISR world. So in the very near term, there will be revenue and cash flow that will be generated from the existing product portfolio, but there's a whole new suite of products that can be built, that can be expanded, and generate a significantly higher revenue given the macro environment we live in today.
Okay, got it. I appreciate it. And then for my second question, I wanted to ask you to unpack the collaboration agreement with Boeing a little bit more. It seems from the shareholder letter and the press release that they'll retain the Wisk autonomous stack for their future aircraft potentially. Does it go further than that in the sense of what you guys have been building at Archer with the Z platform and now SkyGrid on top of that, as well as what you're doing with the Halo Thunder platform? Does Boeing is there more avenues behind just the Wisk autonomous stack?
So the transaction was set up where Archer will own the IP, but we will share the IP back with Boeing as it relates to products built specifically around flight control systems, autonomy, and several other areas. The concept is really one of partnership. So Boeing took all stock in the transaction, they locked up the stock, and we will work together through a collaboration agreement on enhancing and developing that product portfolio and also future products. Boeing, of course, has an entire suite of plans on both the civil and defense side. So there are lots of areas that I'm sure that they are interested in developing. From the Archer perspective, it gave us the ability to have a head start on a lot of the core autonomy stack, the pathway to certifying the autonomy stack on the civil side, and a pathway to deploying the flight autonomy on the defense side. And so it really is a win-win here, where by Archer developing this platform across flight controls, flight control computers, full autonomy, Boeing can benefit too. And by them taking all stock, it's really a win-win across across the transaction.
That's great. I appreciate the questions, Adam.
Thanks.
Your next question comes from the line of Austin Moeller from Canaccord Genuity. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. So for the in situ acquisition, should we be thinking about this from the context of Boeing already manufactures a variety of like Group 1 through Group 3 or Group 4 drones under that product line, and also the EO/IR gimbal payloads that go on them, and you can now combine those products with the Group 5 Thunder drone and also incorporate the gimbal payloads onto Thunder, the green version of the Thunder airframe that you could sell commercially or internationally to other MODs?
So in situ manufactures the drones themselves. It's not being manufactured by some other Boeing entity. It's all contained within in situ. And Archer will start, producing those drones and looking at ways of, scaling up the capabilities there. As it relates to, other companies and working with other companies, I think right now, we're going to be focused on really building just the core products that in situ sells, and really trying to grow that fleet. and not really, trying to, push that to some other customers or other partners that Archer has. And so that's going to be the core focus: is how do we get that portfolio in a really healthy spot? How do we take advantage of the macro environment that we're in, where there's an increased demand for these types of products, and really try to increase the manufacturing, of Group 2, Group 3, Group 4 drones that they manufacture today.
Okay. And if we're thinking about the roadmap to getting to Thunder first flight in 2027, just given it's a dual tilt rotor design, can you just talk about some of the puts and takes and challenges to get to that point next year?
Yeah. Hey, Austin, this is Tom. Well, like I was mentioning to Savi earlier, while the aircraft looks pretty different, standing 100 feet away, if you look under the skin, the platforms, the systems on board are really similar. So again, flying with the same battery technology, same electric motor technology, same flight control software. In fact, we literally took the actual code that flies Midnight, put it in the sim for Halo, and the aircraft flew beautifully without any control designs specific to that platform, which obviously we'll go do. So, certainly there's a lot of hard work for the team. We're excited about partnering with some of the new folks joining, as part of this deal, and feel really good about it.
Awesome. I'll pass it back there. Thanks.
Your next question comes from the line of Amit Dayal. Apologies. Your next question comes from the line of Edison Yu from Dutch Bank. Please go ahead.
Hey, thanks for taking our questions, and congratulations on the deal today. First thing I want to ask is, you've obviously picked up quite a few assets over the last couple of years, right? You think of Overair, you think of the Lilium patents. I guess, what is the vision here on putting together all these assets? And I think, with Wisk, you obviously have a lot of autonomy stuff. So just could you maybe share the vision? You have all these assets, and clearly you got some of them for a very good price. What is the vision on putting these all together, and what we will get?
Thanks, Edison. This is Adam. So some of the previous acquisitions we've done that focused a lot on the early patent portfolios that existed in the eVTOL space were a result of companies that were either shutting down or going out of business. And so I think that was pretty different, where there were groups that had spent hundreds of millions, or in some cases greater than $1 billion, developing IP that was available for us to pick up at a very low dollar cost. And in fact, were heavily competed, across the the eVTOL community, as there was some very interesting IP there. As it relates to Wisk, In Situ, and SkyGrid, it's a totally different and unique value proposition. A lot of this just came about as there are products and platforms that I think are actually more valuable as it relates to Archer than might have been in the hands of Boeing. So, for example, Boeing is focused on some of the biggest platforms in the world. So big platforms like an F-47 or 737. In Situ is a much smaller company, but that impact to Archer is substantial versus the impact, even if In Situ 5X would have minimal impact to Boeing. So our investment in that platform can have substantial rewards in the very near term. And so in a lot of the cases that these assets actually can perform much better on our side. The same thing as it relates to air traffic control. So the ATC product SkyGrid is highly attractive to us for two reasons. One is there's a macro environment where air traffic control needs to get upgraded. And two, we've been building this foundation model Z that's highly complementary to that product, that really can enable that product in a way that they couldn't have done by themselves. So by combining them together and allowing Archer to focus on it, we can get to market in a new space that is, I think, going to be ultimately very valuable, but we'll start out small. Again, probably more difficult for a larger company to go after just because of the size of the starting base.
Gotcha. And just follow up on Boeing. Obviously, Boeing's now a partner, very big investor in Archer. How does one think about the future areas of collaboration? I don't know if you can elaborate more than what was announced in press release. It seemed like this is pretty long term. They clearly trust you guys a lot. Any kind of color you can provide there? Thank you.
I don't want to speak for Boeing and speculate. on from their perspective. But what I'm hopeful is that Archer can be a great partner to Boeing, and by building a lot of these advanced capabilities and really taking the torch and completing the task on a lot of the products that they had built, and then sharing some of that IP back with Boeing to enable some of their products, I think that would make it a true win-win, and that's really my goal.
Understood. Thank you.
Thanks.
Your next question comes from the line of Amit Dayal from H.C. Wainwright & Co. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and congrats on today's announcement. Really interesting setup for you guys going forward. Adam, can you maybe just provide some additional color on what allows you to keep the burn rate contained, despite recent developments with Anduril and now Boeing?
Sure. So I can't say much as it relates to the transaction, just given where we are in that process. But as I mentioned before, if there ever were two companies that could come together, these are really attractive because we have the same architecture to start. So there's a lot of great synergies there where we can be working on. The second is we do have multiple programs, on the defense programs. The goal is to have, programs ultimately won where R&D dollars can be created. And then in situ also provides a platform to generate cash flow. And so when you put all this stuff together, we're going to work really hard to do this, but the goal is to keep the cost structure similar.
Understood. And then just a follow-up, in terms of the next set of milestones for Halo Thunder, can you maybe give us some sense of, what some of those catalysts could be?
Yeah, hey, Matt, this is Tom. So like I mentioned, we're working hard to get the aircraft in the air next year. And obviously, in the background, there's work going on the kind of customer program side that I can't get into details on. But we're pretty confident we'll be in the air next year. And then, the idea is the whole idea of going to market with a defense product first, or I should say the defense variant of the dual use vehicle, is that the certification pathway is much more straightforward. So like this first vehicle will have a military specific airworthiness, and then will incrementally be sort of increased from there as we get into civil markets. And so that really just provides a great setup to take this technology that's already been hardened on Midnight and get it out there, in flying products very rapidly.
Understood. Thank you, guys. That's all I have.
A reminder, if you would like to ask a question, to please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. At this time, I would like to turn the call over to Adam for our retail questions. Adam, please go ahead.
Thanks. There's been a lot of questions on Archer's priorities, commercial versus defense, and how should we think about which will be the larger revenue driver and profitability. So we are certainly not taking our eye off the prize on Midnight. Midnight is core to our platform here at Archer, and we will work on that platform and get it to market. But defense does give us a pathway to deploy products faster, and that does come with revenue and learnings. And now with In Situ, we'll be generating substantial revenue in a high growth industry, which can help bridge the path to getting to profitability sooner. And so with Thunder, we'll look at, the Halo Thunder platform. We're looking at several, multi-decade programs of record with allied forces, but the commercial markets will remain the larger market, and we have not taken our eye off the prize there.
At this time, there are no further questions. I will now turn the call back to Adam for closing remarks. Apologies, we actually have one more question from the line of Savi Syth from Raymond James. Please go ahead.
Okay, thanks for the additional question. Could you kind of briefly talk about, I think Priya mentioned that maybe software generating kind of revenue and profitable by kind of the back half of next year. Just generally kind of what needs to happen on that line to kind of get that generating cash flow?
Sure, Savi. So I think, part of this has to do with Z, which is our Archer's Aviation Foundation model. And so a way to think about it is, America's airspace moves over 3 million people per day, and it's built on systems from decades ago. And the data behind all of those flights are siloed from cockpits to towers. And so Z turns that data into single intelligence layer that gives pilots, airline operators a window into the future. So think better decisions, safer, more efficient operations. So Z is like the brain, and we're building products that will span 3 markets: pilot applications, air traffic management, and airline operations. And we've designed it to be built anywhere that aviation is needed, whether it's in the cloud or on the edge, which is fully offline. So it's not theoretical. These are already discussions we're having with government agencies, industry partners, and in early deployments. So the goal is to take those products, send them out into the market. We've seen a lot of interest in them, and start producing revenue and ultimately profitability.
Got it. And then if I might, just on the EIPP and flying in LA, just wondering kind of the progression there, what milestones you need to kind of meet flying in LA before you start working on EIPP, just any high level kind of flight testing updates.
Hey, Savi. So first, just real quick at the high level testing update, we've flown over 150 piloted test flights, and we're flying up to 5 times a day, and many flights over 50 miles, and we're flying between airports now. So, and of course, we're on track to full transition later this year. So lots of great progress on the piloted flight test front. With regards to EIPP, as we talked about last quarter, you can expect us to begin that initial EIPP operations later this year. And that plan is largely on track. And so we'll start with CTOL, and then we've got more aircraft coming on at the end of this year and beginning of next year, and then we'll roll further as we go. So I think that probably captures your question. Back to you.
It does. Thank you.
At this time, there are no further questions. I would now like to turn the call back over to Adam for closing remarks.
Well, thank you everyone for joining the call today. It was an important day for Archer, and I think the broader industry. I'm grateful for everyone here at Archer for all of their tireless work. And I also want to say how appreciative I am of Kelly Ortberg and the Boeing team for their trust throughout this transaction that we announced this morning. So thank you everyone for joining, and we look forward to sharing more over the course of the quarter.
This concludes today's call. Thank you all for attending. You may now disconnect.
I'm sorry. That was a call. That is how you do it.
There you go, boys.
Best
and girls.
earning call yet for Archer Aviation. We had Joby smashed earnings, Archer smashed earnings. Guys, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. We're about to do a giveaway. Golt's giving away a hat. I'm going to reach back out to Archer Aviation, get a bit of merch, hopefully, to give away. We're going to give away a few more memberships. I want to thank all the new members in here. Guys, how are we feeling about all this?
Well, we're going to begin EIPP with a CTOL variant, which is very good in my opinion, because they're not planning on rushing the N704AX test flights, which is just great for overall safety and the standing of the eVTOL sector. Because remember, if this thing has some kind of horrible accident, you can pretty much kiss the entire sector goodbye. It's not going to be just an Archer thing. It will be a sector-wide crash. Then they announced 150 piloted flights. My goodness, that's amazing. Congratulations to Archer. And then they've been flying up to 5 times a day. I think they did 5 or 6 just today. I mean, they're on a roll with these test flights, and they just keep going.
Guys, Archer slightly going red there. Do not worry about it. I think they've absolutely smashed it. This guy says Archer did not smash earnings, Joby did. On what way did Archer not smash? They're now partnered with the biggest aerospace manufacturer. I don't know where you're going with that one.
And one thing in there too, if we compare the 2 earnings calls, and one, I think it was a fabulous earnings call, and we'll get into more of it. But when we look at sequential revenue growth, so with Blade Operations, we know that those are commercial passenger services, point-to-point flights with traditional rotor helicopters. And we know that basically the revenue is coming in. It went up a little tick, as again, I attributed that to the World Cup and, the more passengers that may be riding. So, you can kind of look at the guidance in Blade's revenue kind of being about is what it is, kind of quarter to quarter. The sequential jump, now, again, we were looking for early cash payments to start coming in from either the UAE or some other early MOU signers. So I know 5 million may not jump off as what everybody would want to see or hear as revenue coming in. But again, it was over a 250% growth of revenue to what they were reporting around this time and on those metrics last year. So again, I think what Archer did in this call was to continue to establish that they are not giving up on the commercial air taxi business. That is not anything that they're willing to just scrap. And they're very proud of their Midnight aircraft and the capabilities that they're going to continue to take those through the test regimes.
As they should be.
Yeah, and they also were able to mention there right at the end that, there was no questions really on ramp, but they did say that they were looking more towards end of 27, most likely to look to scale up a little bit more ramp of production of aircraft. But right at the end, we were able to get that nugget that they are still on track for transition flight within the second half of the year. So I'm kind of glad that Savi jumped back in there and had a few extra questions. Again, she's always one of my favorite analysts to jump on the call. So, a lot good to go over, but Liam, first impressions of the call?
I thought the Outs absolutely smashed it. I think Adam is just demonstrating what a multifaceted business this is now. I think we got our first bits of breadcrumbs around the time of that Hawthorne acquisition. We've said slowly, it seems to be like they're dropping more and more hints. We said when Z got announced that there's a bigger plan to this whole thing. In situ seems to be a massive driver of this too. Absolutely. And again, 200 million in revenue, already profitable. An interesting thought I've really picked up on that Adam highlighted was that, yes, we knew it was driven by macro, but it seems to be previous macro environment. So yes, we can see the conflict building in the likes of Iran or Ukraine, etc., like that. But all this needs to be replenished. So it kind of makes sense that now is when they're going to put their orders in. And then for additional capabilities that they're requesting, this is the development of the industry. So anyone that's invested in that whole drone space, I'm like, Archer Aviation is now your solution.
There you go.
Well, it's the forward looker. And no, it's such a great point, basically, on like the reasons of what's being procured now to a larger scope, and really what we're looking at still in 27, looking to get more of Halo and Thunder in the air, and then looking those to be kind of ammunitionized. That's not really a word. But then get those over to Andrew. And then again, putting out there that, for us that, not to have to expect Halo in the air in one quarter, and they're still progressing through the build on that. One thing that I thought, it really wasn't until the end that they might have kind of not answered the question, but I feel like on just about every question, this was the first where we weren't really left with basically Tom or Adam or whoever was speaking and answering, just kind of repeating back the question, or diverting away from the question. Really feel every question that was asked was succinctly answered, and kind of pushed us again towards realistic timelines, and to give again that breadth of what Thunder and Halo. And again, like Tom says, Halo may look different from Midnight, but when you strip it all down, there's a lot of components of Midnight in that aircraft. So it kind of goes to show, whether it's Maker into Midnight, Midnight into Halo, I don't really take this as this is a company that hasn't figured it out yet. I take it more as a company that is figuring out how to expand and do even more with the talent that they have in-house and the IP that they're acquiring. And just really quick to touch on like the Lilium IP, we may see some of it in 3 to 5 years. We may never see any of it. But I think what Adam's point was, is there was some of the eVTOL companies that were becoming insolvent, and their IP was going to be out on the market. And he talked 3 quarters ago, that there were other bidders for that IP, but Lilium did choose to have Archer be the one to take on that book. So that, with the additional, I think 700 plus IP that went in from Wisk, and I think you nailed it, Liam, where you were talking about why would Boeing not want to have cash and why would they want stock? And I think Adam really leaned into exactly the way you answered it. It's like, because in so many words, they believe, and there's a greater outcome. And if you did catch the beginning, and if you didn't, after jump back, because when Adam was on, he talked about the 12 tilt 6 and how kind of that uniform design with Archer and Wisk really folded into a harmonious build and testing as they continue to move forward. So I got some other thoughts, but I'll let y'all keep going.
David says, nice job today, boys. Adam coming in prior to the earnings was huge. Great analysis across the board. No, thank you. Look, Adam wouldn't come on here unless you guys were here. You guys are what drive this community.
Yeah.
Just look, we're being noticed. We're being recognized by Archer Aviation. When you put a comment there, as Adam said, he's previously watches what we say, what we do. So every question you put out there is being seen by Archer Aviation. Again, Adam is now the CEO of a company that can deliver answers, not mirrored responses. And again, Adam's the first of the big two to actually come on a retail platform. And look, no scripted questions. Everyone says that they all have scripted questions. He came straight on. You can see by our faces, I look down and Adam's there, and I'm like, all right, guys, you prepare.
I guess we bring them up. Yeah. That was awesome. A lot of good was coming through that. The multi-decade program of records with the allies. And I think, again, as we look at these defense contracts and we focus in on Anduril, not to forget that Anduril does have Anduril UK as a subsidiary. And I think that Project Nyx and Anduril being down selected, being able to have an unmanned aircraft like Thunder, being able to be that CCA to go along with the British Army, I think, again, it's these foundational building blocks, but we're having like true product to show. It's not necessarily like we can't speak on defense. We don't know what to show off for defense. So I'm very proud of, the way Archer has been able to navigate the FAA, the modernization of the airspace, and figure out what can they do to help, so they don't have, they didn't have to spend the time and resources and going down the route of Z. But I think Adam sees a bigger picture where without Z, you may not have the ability to have the mass airspace needed for the class 2, 3, and 4 drones in which he was speaking about, and interconnecting that with SkyGrid. And it's it was a very good call. But yeah, let's throw it to the chat, because I'll get my thoughts together and come back with it.
John Walker says, do you think you can get Adam on for an interview? We had him on. At Closing Bell, he was on. If you rewind back, you'll see Adam was on with us live.
What a guy.
If you want a longer interview with him, if we get, 200 likes in this stream, I'll see what I can do to accelerate an interview. But yeah, we will be interviewing him. But can we get another interview quick enough? Let's get 200 likes, maybe. I don't know. We're at 5.2K at the moment. Yeah. Nice. Do you know what? Smash that subscribe button. Let's drive the subscribers up. You're going to be entered in the free giveaway. We're going to give away Archer merch. We're going to give away Archer hat that Goat has there. And then, I'll give away a few memberships as well. So make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and just become active in the chat. It'll help you be selected. Bobby, there was one guy there said, should he buy more at 620? Look, we're not going to give financial advice here. We never do. But if you believe in the company, if you believe in this vision, 620 is an absolute steal. If you look back, 6 months ago, 620 was a steal. So
And if
Go
I
for
could,
it.
yeah, sorry, but just to tap in on that, because I know we've spoke about the TAM and what the realistic TAM, and there was projections out there that there was going to be $1 billion TAM by 2030 or 2035, and then there were some analysts or basically Wall Street coming in with a lower TAM about 135, and again, I was always tracking this as even a less of a TAM of that because I needed to see more maturation in these aircraft to be able to validate what that market what that TAM of the market basically was growing to. But we were able to get that nugget there where they're looking at about 100 billion of the TAM. So now again, under the investment, under the investment hat, now we look at the main players in this industry, and again, to the non-financial advice, but just kind of the opening, kind of the mind and the brain to it. What market share do you think your favorite eVTOL company can take of that 100 billion? And then when you start to slice the pie down, and I'm not going to do that right now. We'll save that for like eVTOL Weekly. But when you start to slice that down, then you can start to put a multiplier on what the current market caps of these companies are now. And that's speaking to what the actual TAM of the industry is. And again, I think we're still looking to find out, are there growth multipliers? Are there tech multipliers, defense multipliers? And even one of the analysts came out and said, and was like, well, you were kind of a commercial air taxi business, but now it looks like we're like viewing you as an aerospace defense company, which was very interesting as well. So yeah, a lot more to come.
I love this comment. What do you say? Loving the it wasn't that comment, but I do love that comment too. Loving the content, boys. Adam owes me a little Archer merch. I've got enough shares. Here we go.
I love it, Jay.
This one, the numbers of the stream are going up a lot quarter over quarter on the earnings call. Maybe we need to invest in Hustle Brothers.
Hey,
Will I go public?
Hustle Brothers to 100.
That's right. We won't meme coin you or anything like that. Just just show up, show love, be in the chat. But no,
invest for your time. That's all we ask for. Invest for your time.
There you go. No, but much love, man. I don't even mean to downplay that, but no. But yeah, no. I love being able to get here with the whole community and do these earning calls. And I think that's what I was gonna say. I think this is one of the first earning calls where I've came out. Be it of almost any of them in the sector where I don't feel like I'm walking away with many questions. Sure, I'd want to know more about this, more about that. And I think that's what this next quarter is about, and we'll research and we'll find out as much of that information as we can. But, I think the only thing to me, I was expecting maybe a little bit quicker revenue coming from Z. So it looks like maybe revenue will be pushed out a little bit towards the back half of 27. But, not in the sense of just kind of looking to give the grace as we're pushing back timelines on revenue and such. But it's looking through I got to get the word Institute, the acquisition that they just did, being able to show. So again, you have Hawthorne, which Adam said, don't think of this as a revenue driver. It's EBITDA positive, but don't think of this as a revenue driver for us. Again, this is all something that's building for when these companies are going to need to MRO their aircraft and they're in that greater LA area. That's what you got Hawthorne for. Continuing to build out those manufacturing facilities. I would like to hear a little bit more, maybe on some, maybe again, I always want to hear more on the CapEx when it comes to factory. Yet, Priya was pretty adamant about CapEx staying in line, and to me, their cash burn comparative to what they're trying to do, and also the cash that they have on the table. Just napkin math, they have the money to get to Innovate 28. And I think, Adam is doing his best. And I'm going to re-go through the call just to touch on this point when we go back through where, Adam's talking on the call where, basically being ready for 28. And he still sees commercial as the bigger revenue opportunity. But I thought it was so interesting where he brought up macro twice. And I think sometimes I'll say for me, when I'm looking at the portfolio, I'm like, man, the macro is destroying my portfolio and it's dragging it down in this. And Adam has seen the macro environment of a revenue driver for his company. So again, he's building the aircraft that, is looking to move forward as we put that 27, I think, is going to be that year of build and refine. and they said a little bit of ramp of scaling of manufacturing towards the end of 27. And there we go. Now we're rolling into summer of 2028. Let's see how many Midnight that we may have produced and be able to be off the ground. And I mean, that gives us still, I mean, we're still just under 2 years. And I mean, again, look what this company has been able to at least display to us in the last 2 months. Now, granted, there was years of build that went into that, but again, these are the foundational blocks that keep this company moving and having that opportunity to generate revenue going in to 28, 29, and 2030.
Now, what I'm going to do while you guys speak, I'm going to do our giveaway here. I'm going to give away 5 memberships. Make sure you've smashed that like button, smash that subscribe. I'll give away that. Then we'll wait until after we're completely done with the analysis and we'll start giving away merch. Is that a deal?
Sounds good.
Okay. 919 News says cheap shares are good, but we don't want aggressive downtrends to become normal because history repeats itself. King Durf says, guys, my wife is ready to whack me, leaving in less than 1 day away from 10 cruise to Alaska. And
Understood.
Have a good time.
Understood. Yeah, trust me, I was in that boat
Just pack
on
like
Friday.
an hour before you go. You'll be fine.
But no, we appreciate give a big shout out to the wife because we always appreciate the family that supports the eVTOL investors and enthusiasts and give us the time. So King, give a big shout out to the family, man. Have a safe trip. Report to us when you're back. Let us know how it went and share some pictures, DM us, whatever you want or can do. We'd love to know how the trip went.
Right, Dylan, I'll let you take over the stream for a second. I'm just getting this.
Yeah. So let's see here. So I'm just gonna go with a few stars I had here, starting on page 1 because obviously I'm DD Dylan here. So looking at, again, speaking on multi-decade programs of records, like I said, with the allies. So again, when we look at these deals coming through, it's, when we're with the sale of Midnight aircraft, we'll have to have the aircraft to figure out how many can sell on those. And we have the multiplier about 5 million per aircraft. 10 of those are going to be 50 million. So they really need to ramp and scale that. But having a multi-decade program of records, and really that's a little bit more than Adam was able to say in the past, as he would kind of talk about records of in the tens of millions. So it's nice to see the range of program of record that he is looking to go for. And then when you put together Larry Page and Tom Muniz, I mean, I put next to it, I just said, what a team. I mean, you literally have 2 of basically the pioneers of this eVTOL aviation now able to collaborate and work together really under one roof. A lot of the talk of the group 2, 3, and 4 unmanned systems. And so now I look at also, Institute versus Blade and what the companies are doing. So what I see in Blade is it matches Joby's really aviation goals to be a owner and operator of an air taxi route. And what I see with the Institute is that ACHR Aviation is tapping into revenue drivers in the defense category. As again, Adam said, he's not giving up on the commercial Midnight product, but he's seeing what the early revenue drivers are. So it's just interesting to see how the 2 different companies or the companies in the eVTOL sectors go about making these acquisitions that are going to put revenue on the books, but then kind of backing those to align with what the company's kind of mission, vision, and values are as they move through. So I thought that was an interesting note that they had in there. And significant. And I did air quote or put quotations as Priya had mentioned, significant ramp at end of 2027. And a lot of self-funding, 5 million revenue coming out of Hawthorne. And I like the CapEx. So I got a few more notes, but so you guys don't have to hear me talk for too long, I'll kick it to the guys.
That 5 million estimate also, by the way, beat the 5 million sales revenue generated beat the estimate by 150%. Just so you know, the estimate was 1.97 million. That is outstanding.
I have an announcement here, guys. So I think, I don't know but I think I've turned on where you can get a free trial on your membership. So anyone jump in to your memberships. If you've remained here in that stream, just jump in and put join as a member. And if it says $0, that's free. Don't go spending money. If it says it costs anything, don't go spending it. But I think I have turned on trial membership. So if you want to become a member, it should be free trials now. But I have sent out 5 memberships, and Randy Worms has got one.
Nice.
ISO Voodoo has got one. Chris Pape has got one. Matt Cooney has got one. And my good old friend Christian Wyatt has got one as well.
That's awesome.
There you go,
Congratulations,
Christian.
everybody.
Day one right there, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Go with you got did you got any stars that you want to hit on from the call?
Yeah. My big thing was they're going to begin EIPP. They're on track to do that by the end of the year. Here's the big one. Talking about the Halo and Thunder, which is my favorite part of Archer Aviation. Of course, this is a clean sheet design. It's got different mission capabilities, so it's got more payload, more range, and faster speed, of course. Target is to be in the air next year, and then customer deliveries in 2029. And that is like 2 years pretty much from now. That's crazy.
Well, and I think too, like you say, with the customer deliveries, and if that's slated for 2029, that starts me now kind of backtracking the brain towards late 27, 28 of actually hearing who these customers will be for the deliveries. So again, I think we'll get to see, as again, we're looking to project that TAM out, whether it again is search and rescue, ISR, and those sort of things, but also again, we know the beta has leaned into maybe more of your kind of cargo carrying missions and use cases and such like that. But yeah, I'm super excited to see what customers start signing up in late 27 to early 28, and then we can start to really measure out the TAM of this industry too.
Something else very important that was said. He specifically said Midnight is core to Archer. Midnight's not going away. They're not just going to give up on Midnight. That tells me that they have no worries that Midnight is going to do a transition flight this year. I don't think they have any problem telling people that. They've already told people that. The commercial market is going to be more valuable long term with this Archer Midnight, but the Thunder Halo defense aspect of it will bring revenue sooner because there's a whole different certification progress. I mean, it's just good news after good news after good news. I can't think of anything bad that I didn't like about this call, and that's the first time that's ever happened with any call ever. So that's awesome.
I want to give a big shout out to Mac. Look, we go back and forth with Mac, have a bit of a laugh back and over between Joby and Archer and this, that, and the other, but this shows you what the eVTOL family is all about. Team eVTOL. Congrats on the phone call. Missed it. Regardless of my thoughts about Archer, that is a huge accomplishment. And I want to say thank you so much, Mac. Make sure you're jumping across to X and following Mac. He does some great eVTOL content. And you know what? He's not only just an eVTOL content creator on X, but he actually shares quite a bit of his like personal life and all that. I actually get like invested in listening to Mac. So Mac, big shout out, my guy. Thank you so much for that.
Always on a plane too. He's awesome.
Aviation Talk Now says great job on the Adam Goldstein appearance, guys. Yeah, I've put a poll up, guys. Were any of you here when we got Adam Goldstein on live? We got him on live at Closing Bell. Shows you what type of CEO he is. Completely open and honest. Came on, non-scripted questions. He just came on and let himself let it hang, put it that way. And Amisha says, please request Adam if you can ask a question on the next earnings call. Ooh, that could be a good one. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Love it.
King, big shout out. He became a member during this. As I said, any of you guys that became members, we didn't make any revenue for this live stream because I turned the ads off because I wanted to streamline the experience. But you guys that actually spent your hard-earned money, I'll tell you where that money's going. It's going to both Dylan and Goat's kids. I think this whole channel experience is all about family and growing financial freedom for not just yourself but your family, and I think that's where we need to trickle it back into. We never know. The Hustle Brothers in 20, 30 years time could have Dylan and Goat's kids actually running the stream. So yeah, let's give it back to them. Great to see Adam on the stream. I have questions for Adam Goldstein next time. Let me on too. Do you know what? We said we're going to compile a load of questions. We're going to send an email to ACHR. So anyone that has a question that you want to ask ACHR, I'll see if we can get that done. We are going to try and get a recorded interview with Adam. I can't tell you when because personally, I don't know when. While Saddle says, I'll definitely buy ACHR within this week. I didn't become a membership since I did not get a free one.
That's okay. Wow.
Do you know what? Wild Saddle, go on to the memberships now. I think I've turned on trials, so I don't think it costs anything to become a member. Just double check that with me. Come back to the chat. Tell me if it does cost something. It should cost 0. So let me know. And I'll see if I can correct that for you. Serious question. Do you think the price retreats back to $5.50 by Friday, or do you think the $6 holds?
I hope so.
Ooh, I don't know. I think we're going to get
owning Wisk and all these other companies. I would love $5.50 one more time.
You know, and again, I don't know. I've been one that I don't always love looking at the options chain personally to totally dictate what I think is going to happen on the closing bell on Friday. I know that there are some that are probably amazing at being able to look at option flows and being able to tell what the strike price is going to be by Friday. But we got a huge pump today, and I'm sure that there was options bought on both sides of it that would be expiring the Friday after the earnings call. So I think again, it's one of those where we're all going to have and this is the obvious stuff, but we're all going to have the different investment styles and goals and thesis, reasons. So, I think again, because again, there's always stock dollar price versus market cap of the company. It can look very cheap to buy a stock at $1, but market cap can be completely inverse to like what that actual dollar is. So, so let's see. Max in. He's got 550 covered calls expiring. Is it this?
He has calls and puts expiring 550.
So you got the Iron Condor. Is it going around? But no. But yeah, no. I hope during these times, if these are the calls that continue to build your confidence, that you do what you feel is right within your portfolios. And we can't always predict because again, at this time last year, it seemed like it was all up and to the right. And, $10 buys seemed like they would never come back again, and macro hit us. But again, when we think of macro, I think, again, ACHR and Adam is really finding out what this macro environment can be for a long sustaining business of ACHR Aviation. And again, like the analyst said, ACHR Aviation being kind of like a aerospace defense play, and just like you said, Adam not giving up on his clean sheet build in midnight.
Many X says cost 20. What costs 20, my guy? Your churro says I can see a lot of synergies with ACHR, Palantir, and Elon's companies. What are your thoughts? Look, the churro. I covered the Tesla rumors that time, and I had a lot of people jumping on my back. So when it comes to Elon companies and ACHR Aviation, I'm still steering well clear until anything's concrete because I ain't getting involved in any conspiracies, rumors, anything like that. I've learned my lesson.
I do say stay up to date with Adam on X. He has been talking about the boring tunnel and stuff like that. So yeah. I don't want to give you any false hopes or anything like that. But Adam, he's been a lot more active. Yeah, and he's been a lot more active on X as of late. Just kind of with the comments or kind of putting out his own thoughts and such. So but the synergies with ACHR and Palantir, again, I've said with Elon, taking outside of like partnerships with ACHR and stuff. And maybe this is a question I'd love to ask Adam, is just what does he think of Elon? Because I've always wondered, is it somebody that Adam admires as like an entrepreneur, visionary? Is it somebody that is like, man, this guy knows how to run a business from basically scratch to fruition, and just different business models that Elon has done over the time. So I'd really like to kind of tap into Adam and get his feelings and just kind of how he feels about Elon the person. And I think Archer and Palantir, that's one where whether it's through the ATC or building in the ontology, because again, Archer will be going off the shelf, and they're going to need to be supply chain ready for when they do go ahead and ramp, and like Priya said, do the significant ramp of 2027. So, Palantir could also come into play with those companies like GKN, Honeywell, and such like that. And not to forget that Honeywell actually spun off its own ticker for a aerospace subsidiary of their company. So again, it's just really seeming like aerospace and aerospace defense is really coming a hot topic. And I think it again peels back to, what conflicts go on now. Maybe we can't always solve that with if this makes sense, I hope, but we can't always solve it with the clean sheet builds that we have today. But I think what it does is it gives those militaries the information on what products they may need to procure to go into the 2030s and such like that. And it seems like so far that Thunder is going to be a great product, and we're going to get that into Anduril's hands and allow them to really be the ones to obtain those programs of records. And then hopefully we'll get a ramp of Thunder revenue coming through the door as well.
Nishara says, need to sign off the Hustle Brothers. How do I subscribe to be a paid member? Is there a link? So it should say join somewhere there. If it doesn't say join somewhere, come back to me and I'll see if I can get you a link, my guy. Thank you so much. Great job, fellas. Archer to 100. I love it. I started as an Archer investor in November 2024, nice. And I plan to see this to at least 2030. Great coverage, guys. Keep it going. I'm telling you, after 2030 is when we start making serious money. I wouldn't put 2030 as your get out. You'll have just got through the hard stage by 2030.
Trim a little bit and buy a yacht, but I wouldn't sell out completely.
Can we ask Adam how the Palantir partnership has helped Archer Aviation? Yeah, we can ask that.
It's a great question. It's a great question.
Keep up the good work with the channel, Archer to the Moon. Thank you so much, brother. Go. I want you to run through the chat there. Have a look. Who do you think should get the hat? We're going to leave that up to Go. Let him spin the wheel there.
Yeah, I'm going to pick 4 or 5 people. Y'all just keep talking for a minute, and I'm going to put them in a random generator.
Guys, jump into the chat. Make the chat active as anything. You want a Archer to 100 hat? Jump in and make yourself known. Let us know why you should get some merch. I'm also going to reach out to Archer Aviation. What I'm going to do, I'm going to clip that interview from Adam that we had earlier. Anyone here, make sure to join that video. It'll be what, 10 minutes long or so. Mm-hmm. Make sure you comment underneath, and I'm going to pick who should get the Archer Aviation merch from there. If we get that 5 comments, well, that's going to be the 5 people that get the Archer Aviation merch. So you're going to want to watch it. You have to smash the like button on it and watch the whole thing. I can see the retention time, so I know who watches the whole thing and who doesn't watch the whole thing. So if you watch the whole thing and smash the like button on the Adam interview that I'm going to drop, not only that, there's going to be a collaboration with the 2 boys. So you have to be subscribed to both Stock Dylan and the Goat Gains too. So we've had 2.1k people who have watched the stream so far. If we got 2.1k, that means the boys should be at 2.1k when I'm giving away the Archer Aviation merch. I would love a hat to support the eVTOL community. Subscribe now. James says, pick me, Goat.
Max wants that love.
DK has been here quite a bit. He would love one. I'll wear the hat every day. A Stark says, I'll go for a hat Archer to 100. Where do you see Archer in the next 4 months? I will answer that in a minute. Liked. Would love some Archer merch, aviation talk now.
No, man.
Big man. Cedric says, I think I've done more for one side of Archer than so many. To be fair, he does make sure Archer is well known around the place, whether it's good or bad. He does make sure it's well known. Go is still heavy at work there. We're down 2.24%.
I got a thought for you, Liam. It was around, so it was interesting now because I was used to Bill P coming in for the JP Morgan question.
Yep.
So it looks like James K is taking that over. But he started to talk about, he was like sales years ago. So he says, where do you think Institute is fitting into Archer in the revenue? And then on the second question, he was talking about the Boeing agreement. And I'm going to have to go back and listen through, but don't know if anybody caught up on this. But I was very curious if maybe Boeing might be adding Z in some layer of foundation into their or basically into their aviation or to their aircrafts as well. So I'm really curious to start kind of digging into what this relationship with Boeing can mean, not just on the Wisk and on the ISR side and such, but yeah, curious if Boeing may be an adopter of Z, but don't put that in your thesis. Let me do some research and I'll come back to you guys on that.
Then jumping across.
We have a winner.
Okay. Marco, I'll get back to you in 2 seconds.
So, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody that's going to be watching this in the future. Just wanted to announce the winner of one of these pristine Archer 200 hats, DK5067. That's what the random generator said. If
Good
you
job,
want a
DK.
hat and you're not DK507, go to my X page. I'm going to drop the price of it down to where I don't make any money for 24 hours. And you'll just be paying for the actual hat, what I would have to pay when I bought this one. And DK, buddy, DM me on X, and I'll get you. I'll make sure I get you one of these hats as soon as possible. This is awesome, and I'm glad to. This is the only hat right now. I'm glad that there's going to be another one, and I hope everybody gets one.
DK, big shout out, my guy. Thank you so much. I forget who was looking for that link. There it is. Marco says, "Dear brothers, I hope that at least one of these three companies, Vertical." Ooh. Am I right in saying Vertical had some news today? Vertical, Joby, and Archer will increase a lot in stock price because I've had all my money invested there. I'm not going to bash any company. I would be a lot more confident in Archer and Joby, my guy. But look, Vertical may pull it out of the bag.
And then just to put it in there, just with the quick Google search, because it looks like that yes, Vertical Aerospace executed for a 1-4-10 reverse stock split on September 24th. Oh, I'm sorry, that was a different reverse stock split. Sorry, more info to come if it comes. Sorry about that.
Vertical did have big news today. They had another cash raise.
Yeah, there was. Okay.
Are they going reverse splitting?
Got to.
Let me look it up real quick to see what they're doing. So yeah, I think we want, and in this, I think we want to see that, that enthusiasm keep coming into the eVTOL market. For anybody looking at it, take a look at the, average volume and such that get traded on the stocks. And if you want, just keep a side eye as it goes through the day, or, just check once a day or towards the end of the day and just see if average volume exceeded, under exceeded, or just kind of hit. So like on Archer today, your average volume is usually 31.65 million is the adjusted rate right now. And the volume today on Archer was 128.08 million shares traded. So big volume day for Archer. So keep an eye on volume also with those tickers, just to keep a little side eye on those.
World Free Speech says it's time to see more flights from Archer and live flights from their almost daily exercise and develop the experimental flights. Definitely not recommended, but 95% of my portfolio is Archer. You are
I feel
very
your pain,
heavily
brother. I
connected.
feel you.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it though. I don't hate it.
Anybody surprised we're down considering we beat revenue substantially, plus the news from today, plus a ton of cash on hand? Either way, I believe it'll be great tomorrow. Now, it doesn't surprise me. This way, I said it before. The earnings are a wild one. You can have the best news known to man, and you're substantially down. I got a text in the middle of this that Rocket Lab have beaten on earnings, and they were down heavily when I.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, look, 6.80%. So, guys, don't panic. Like, Archer's doing fantastic. Look, we're only down 2.24% there.
And after hours trading is always a wild indicator of what might not even really be happening in the morning. So yeah, after hours versus market hours. But it'll be super interesting to see how this market digests this call tomorrow, though.
ACHR applications are going to be huge with this tech. Perfect for lighter and just need to insulate the copper windings so they can operate above Class A airspace. Vertical had big news, another cash raise today, and Mac did say they have diluted. Archer stock will take off vertically, $20 to $30. Can you guys do a video one time about the stock prices, last year's ups and downs, and if there's is a recurrence or what it will be able to do if you notice stuff with the amount of stock sold and bought? I can tell you I know a trend for the last 2 years anyway, and back half of the year is always a lot stronger than the front half of the year, and we're seeing that again happening this year. Potentially we might have a worrying September or so, just because it normally September just seems to be a sell-off month. But going forward, yeah, I'd expect a strong end to the year. Much better coverage than Martin Lucas could ever provide. Do you know what? Flip-flop trader. We had Adam Goldstein live 30 seconds after closing bell. Adam Goldstein chose the Hustle Brothers. We don't talk to anyone, Martin says. There we go. We talk to the best. So
maybe it's because we took our hats off today. So we can't correct. We didn't wear hats.
Yeah. No, guys, you're wearing earphones. You're not. That's right. You're not. I don't know. Authentic enough because you wear earphones.
And the macro wasn't the best today either. That's fair.
$20 to $30 would be nice. It would be incredibly nice, but are you happy for it to go to $20 to $30, or do you want more? Because I'm a greedy man. I want some more, and I especially want some more now. So, yeah, let's not go to $20 to $30 yet. I'm not happy enough yet. Who cares about last year? Remember that I said that a few weeks ago, Liam? You sure did, Lennar. Lennar is actually a solid investor, you know. Keep an eye on Lennar. Lennar, are you on X? Let's connect. I want to know what it's going to do this year, and I already locked it up on AI for stock estimates through 2030, in my opinion. Thanks. I'd be careful looking at it through AI. AI looks at pattern recognition. We're not following pattern recognition. We're following a dynamic company that just, like AI, if you looked at it yesterday, wouldn't have foreseen what happened today. It completely changes the whole business, what happened today. So just be very careful using AI models. That's why at Hustle Brothers, you can see we don't use AI. We just, off the cuff, as we read the information, we have conversations back and over. But at least you know we're here for it. We're probably wrong 99% of the time, but at least we have fun doing it, you know. Along with where you see Archer end of year, Fandral IPO. Okay, remember my forecast towards the end of the year, that $20 end of the year, and everyone started laughing at me and stuff like that. If we get good macro, and we start getting that transition take place, and then we start seeing more and more from this Wisk acquisition, then we see like contracts starting to come through with Andral.
Yeah.
It could happen.
$20 could be on the cards.
Well,
I'm not saying it is, but it could be.
And it wouldn't hurt, I think, that symbiotic thing where if Archer can meet guidance and do a piloted transition this year, I think, again, you saw that Joby kind of was able to climb up and reach new consolidating zones before macro really hit the sector hard. So you kind of were able to see him leg up. So basically in that, if we can get Archer to stick to guidance and do that piloted transition this year, we now have 2 eVTOL companies that are proving out piloted transition. And again, I think that's just sector confidence.
Wait, those 3 pretty faces aren't AI. Mate, you know what? I'd have myself looking bare pretty if I had AI, Give me like a mustache and stuff like that. I love it.
There you go, Lee.
While sadly I use everything, and yes, you're correct, anything can happen. Who in the world could have forecast Adam's great news today? And do you know what? While sadly, that's saying the same with Joby, that's saying the same with Beta Technologies. We just don't know this such a dynamic space at the moment. It's not like, and this is, I wouldn't use it for the likes of McDonald's or Coca-Cola, but it's kind of expected what they're doing. So you can kind of like forecast it using an AI model better than you can forecast such a dynamic space that just keeps changing, keeps evolving. Like the FAA don't know their standards themselves for certification, so I don't know how the AI model. Did 704AX indeed reach 500 feet today go? They sure did, didn't they?
To FlightAware, it did. I haven't cross-checked that, but because I was on the stream when I saw it. But according to FlightAware, it reached 500 feet. That's great for Archer, great for N704.
Last time Archer had a super catalyst, it went up 300 to 400%, 3 to 4 months. Archer and Boeing news today. It's just been a great day overall. It has been a great day overall. I can't believe it. I'm not going to sleep tonight. But no, do you know what? I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be like, that did not happen.
Yeah. It's crazy. And again, it's like to have a day like today, you get the announcements of Z and then you roll in with other, you have Z and then you have Halo, you have Thunder. And then we're all geared up for earnings call today. We're ready to hear about that. And then boom, the multifaceted business drops this bombshell. And again, I think we look at the companies and how they're looking to bring revenue through the door. And I'm also curious, do you think maybe we'll hear a little bit more about ACES maybe on the beta side of the earnings call? So I'm curious to continue to learn more about the consortium that has been coming through and really see how Beta, Signature Aviation, McGuire, and Archer now kind of are a box as opposed to the triangle in building out that infrastructure. So really curious because, again, that's going to fold back to a bit of Archer's thesis and where they can operate in as well. So ready to hear more about that too, baby.
Guys, smash that like button. What I'm going to do after this live stream's finished, I'm going to clip up that interview with Adam. What I want you to do, any question you have for Adam, for Archer, anything you want answered by Archer themselves, make sure you jump it in the comments. Anyone that comments is in with a chance to win Archer Aviation merch. I'll try my hardest to get as much as I can, so as much of you as physically possible will win some Archer Aviation merch. But to enter that, you have to watch the whole stream because I know the retention time. Smash the like button and smash the subscribe button on all 3 creators. So look, we've had 2,200, 2,300 through this earnings call. Dylan and Goat Gain should be up at 2.3k if all goes well. And the majority of you should get some Archer Aviation merch. So let's see, 2.2, yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm surprised Martin's not banging on about a short squeeze, and that's because that it's up and lying. He's got insider contacts. Well, what insider contact can he have? Like, we just brought Adam on the stream.
There you go.
Like, there is no.
That's about as inside as it gets.
Mac, don't put the questions on here just because this whole chat will go after the live stream. Won't be able to see it. So put it once I pull up the other thing. I'll be able to bang them on in the interview. The future brand new air traffic control system is critically essential to implement piloted eVTOL and autonomous flights into the National Aerospace System, Think Z. It's all
Being there.
puzzle pieces coming together, and that's what's so beautiful about this announcement today. It's like the announcement of Z, the announcement of Thunder and Halo, and now with three businesses perfectly aligned. Like, I know people say, like, oh, why is Wisk and ACHR now, or why is that now the perfect opportunity for ACHR? And I've seen some of you saying that how Wisk wasn't the ideal partner with or not partner, they will own Wisk. It's the three businesses together. And I love how Adam just tied all three of them, and he had an answer for all three and why they fit ACHR. It's just perfect. I just love it.
And again, ACHR starts with an A, and they got product Z. So corny thing here, but maybe ACHR's going to go from A to Z, and there's our puzzle pieces, you know. So
Kinney's cheers and best. Do you know what, guys? I need to get a nice cup of tea after that whole stream. I want you to wait around. I'm going to clip that quickly. You want some ACHR Aviation merch? Make sure you're jumping into that video. Don't jump into this one after I've put it. Jump into the one. It's going to be called We Interview Adam Goldstein or something like that. Jump into that one. I'll have it underneath where it says questions to ask Adam. We'll get them all across to ACHR. I'm going to try my best to get as much of you merch for ACHR. But yeah, make sure you've watched the whole thing, liked, subscribed. And yeah, we're the Hustle Brothers. We've been here since day dot. We intend to be here long after a fad wears off across the space. I think some people are in it when the good news is happening. They're out of it when the bad news is happening. But no, we're here. Good, bad, and ugly. We will remain here. Yes, wearing hats, wearing earphones. I don't really care. We're average retail investors, and that's what we will maintain to be. I want to chat to every single one of you, so I don't care whether you have one share in ACHR. I don't care if you have no shares in ACHR. If you're just interested in this space, I want to chat to you. If you have $1 million in ACHR, I don't care. Thank you so much, guys. My name's Liam, one of the Hustle Brothers, here with the other two guys. We have both Goat Gains and Stock Dylan. Make sure you're subscribed to both boys. Yeah, I'm expecting 2.3k subs on both channels. Right, guys. Until later, we'll see you then. Go ACHR.
Peace.